Here we go.
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it! Hits it!
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I got to thank Steve and everybody here, Clayton Anderson, for having us on this Friday at Clayton's Country Bar. We're downtown. The reason why I want to thank them is just because they're really good friends, for one, and they've got a great thing going on here, for two. But number three is they normally don't open until 5, but because of us and because of you, they've decided to crank this bad boy open at 3. And as I mentioned to Jake in our Love Heating and Air crossover, this is one of the most popular places. It is very new, too, but one of the most popular places. It is a hang, let me tell you. Regardless of the country music, I was discussing this with a friend of mine yesterday about, well, if it's country music, what if you don't like country music? It doesn't matter. If you like people, cool people, hanging out and seeing live music, this is it, Indianapolis. If you've not been here, this is one hell of an opportunity for you to be here, too, because not only will you have the mixture of country music per usual, but you're also going to have IU and Oregon Part 2 coming up later on tonight. This is the primer. This is your pregame Peach Bowl party going on, because that kick is at 7:30 later on tonight between the 5 Oregon, the 1 Indiana, and I know it is like the bizarro world in which we live. It's one thing to think about the dynamic of tonight in Atlanta, Georgia. But we've been down that path, haven't we? It was that way at the Rose Bowl against Alabama when Mr. Peanut and others were all over, and whatever the carton guy is, the bald guy that was ripping all over IU fans, when everybody was against IU thinking they're going to go in there and get handled, and they took Bama to the woodshed big time. And actually, I think you could say this. If you watch this game, and this is going to come across as sounding very jackass, but it's par for my course. I was watching the game last night, and it was entertaining, especially late. It was back and forth, Ole Miss and Miami, and they have some talented guys, don't get me wrong, but I swear to you, and I don't know if this is like the SEC swagger that we've always been hit over the head with, kind of overtaking my body in college football terms right now. But it felt like that I was watching like Illinois and Michigan State of the Big Ten last night. That's what it felt like. And I feel comfortable in saying the winner of tonight's game, and I don't think it's the first, I don't think this is an original take whatsoever, but the winner of tonight's game in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl, I believe, wins it all. And nothing against Miami. Carson Beck had a moment. And the Chambliss kid had some moments. By the way, his waiver for a 25th year was denied a little bit earlier today by the NCAA. But no, he was fun to watch. I mean, Ole Miss put it all out there. It was an incredibly entertaining game to watch down the stretch, but I never could get out of the fact that it kind of felt like we were watching this maybe not middle-of-the-road Big Ten matchup in an October during the course of a regular season. It may be a little bit more elevated than that. It wasn't great. And honestly, when you look across what we've witnessed so far in the college football playoff, there's nothing that really jumps off the page except for one, and that's IU deep-pantsing Bama. Because you just didn't beat them. I mean, you beat them down, and you put them in a situation where their own fan base goes, well, great, Kalen DeBoer, this team just quit. They look like that they quit. They forced them into submission in that game. And they did it in a style and a fashion, again, which we haven't seen from other teams. Have you? Did you see it in Oregon versus Texas Tech? Texas Tech looked like they didn't belong in anything, much less that. Hanging around, waiting as one of those bye teams, and absolutely got hammered by Oregon. And Oregon didn't look that good offensively. Oregon didn't look that good whatsoever. I'm not trying to suggest that IU should and will roll, but I know that it's weird, especially for those that have been deeply embedded into college football over the years, and all you know is the IU football program of what it was many years prior to the past 2 years under Kurt Cignetti. But this is different. They look like they should be the 1 seed. They played like they should be the 1 seed. They played like they should be the favorite remaining in this entire thing. That's how they played. And that's just not Homer IU people from Indianapolis or the state of Indiana making that crap up. That's what you've seen. All you need is the evidence of it. Now, I'm not making anything up. I'm not trying to make light of, other teams or Oregon. And I know it's going to be difficult because they're going to be primed and ready to go because IU got them, obviously, back in early October on their home field in Eugene, Oregon. And I don't know if it's always more difficult to get a team a second time. What's up, BT? Good to see you, pal. That's our friend John over there, if you guys would like to meet one another. 2 good dudes reminiscing over IU football conversation at Clayton's Country Bar. I dig it. But no, it's just the truth. I will tell you this, and I never thought I would be in any of these positions. And don't get me wrong. I want to go with you to Bullseye next weekend and have an absolute blast. But that has no bearing on what I'm about to tell you right now, is that this IU team, I'm going to be disappointed if they don't win at all. I'm going to be disappointed if they don't win later on tonight, and not just from well, you know what, you're here and you may never be back. That's what everybody was talking about Ole Miss last night. Well, you're here one time and you're never going to be back. I mean, anything now is possible. This is not what your father or your grandfather's college football landscape is like anymore. You have the funds / resources, and you have a plan. And if you can't keep, and I think this has been an important part of it, and not so much with the players, because IU certainly, they go deep into the transfer portal with good reason. But being able to keep around your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, cohesion. I mean, Oregon's got dudes all over the place right now. You got Kentucky, and I got to mess with the transfer portal. We got a tug of war on a quarterback going on right now in Nebraska or Kentucky. You got a focus going on there. You got another guy that's got a focus, going on as well. So, and then IU kind of rolls into this matchup later on tonight, and you know where you are and you know where you're going. And that was the team that you saw in the Rose Bowl that, frankly, performed like that. And while certainly that wasn't Alabama of Nick Saban Alabama terms, national title Alabamas in the past, but to do that, and as I mentioned, in the fashion in which they did it, with just incredible execution. That's what they did. Mistake-free execution. And that's what, to me, makes IU stand alone in what we see right now. And that goes back to last night with Ole Miss and Miami. I mean, neither one could really stop one another. I mean, hell, if there was 30 seconds left on the clock, Ole Miss was going to score again. And it just so happened that the timing worked out for Miami late because these guys weren't going to stop one another. And there was probably going to be a penalty. You see pre-snap penalties. This with IU is just looked different so far in that Rose Bowl game. And it's not just because Alabama is not the Alabama of Nick Saban terms. Disappointed I will be if they don't win, certainly tonight, and if they don't win it all, because all you have to do is watch. There's nobody that has looked as good as what IU has looked in this college football playoff, and that includes Miami from last night. I was talking to a friend of mine on my way in today. Well, Miami, they're going to be playing at home, and, they're going to have all the Hurricanes. Michael Irvin's going to be there. Edgerrin James is going to be there. Everybody's going to be on the sideline of the U. And my retort was, but there's going to be like 70,000 IU fans in that place. That's the thing. You're going to see, what is it going to be? I had the super dentist, Brad Sammons, of mine, who was actually in Atlanta, and he said, JMV, it's like 25-1 right now, IU to Oregon fans. You knew that was going to happen. But I think that could happen if IU cashes in the Peach Bowl later on tonight. I think that's going to happen coming up in South Florida next week, too, or that Monday for the national title game. Maybe not that high of a number, but people leave out the fact these IU fans are rabid. They've never seen this before, and they're going to go at it. And they're going at it right now like they've never seen it before. And then you hope that they go at it because now you're going to be there and you have done that, and it's going to become habit forming for a program like IU. Very youthful. It's interesting, right? The winning level is youthful for 2 years. The head coach, the staff, the players that they surround themselves with that execute on a high level, they're veteran. You don't see a lot of youth. You don't see a lot of inexperience. You do see execution and a great deal of cohesion, which I think has unlocked, again, something that a lot of other college football programs are going to be looking for. You have all of a sudden now, poof, now everybody's going to be wanting to do that. How can we be like that? How can we keep guys around? How can we maintain? It's funny, too. Lou looked into the transfer portal and to the era of NIL, and a lot of us old farts kind of went there kicking and screaming. But honestly, watching what it has done to help transform this IU football program from what it was to what it is right now and what it is capable of accomplishing later on tonight, starting with that semifinal in Atlanta. Yeah, you wouldn't trade it for anything in the world right now, would you? You got to be all in on this stuff, too. I remember this, and this is well before the world of the transfer portal and NIL. But Brad Stevens, when he was coaching Butler to their prominence, certainly in back-to-back championship games, back-to-back Final Fours and championship games, had that saying about, everybody within the program and even everybody surrounding the program, everybody inside Hinkle Fieldhouse, you always have to be pushing in the same direction. IU has a team where it seems like that everybody is pushing in the same direction. Oregon seems like a team where you got to bring somebody out to run the football who's in the transfer portal, and you got coaches going 19 different directions right now. They are very talented, and I'm not minimizing that whatsoever. But this time of year, to execute, to not have the pre-snap penalties, to just be on the same page with one another, especially with the layoff that you had. If you look at the layoff that all these teams with the bye had, which one looked outstanding? And we kind of wondered how they were going to look. I mean, nearly a month off. Everybody else looked like they knocked around for a long time, if not the entirety of the game. And, again, IU's got that connectivity of all pushing in the same direction. I always felt that saying, that motto of Brad Stevens is something that certainly, no matter the era we're talking about here, translates to winning today. NIL era, transfer portal era, and certainly IU has had a path that they have taken. They want to maintain. They want to maintain, as I mentioned, that cohesion, that connectability, but also there's a lot of guys that played out a lot of football, maybe not together in the past, but they have played a lot of college football, and you can certainly tell. All right. Clayton's Country Bar, we're downtown. Would love to see you. In fact, they've decided to unlock the doors at 3 o'clock for us today. So this is going to be your pre-Peach Bowl party destination location. And then, hang around with us, and we'll watch the game coming up at 7:30. That's when it kicks down in Atlanta coming up a little bit later on today. So, yeah, just go ahead and get out of work. If you're even at work today, whatever, join us at Clayton's Country Bar. Steve is certainly one of the owners, has ownership in it, and you know Steve very well from our days at OPTs in Broad Ripple. Steve's going to join us and talk about the place a little bit later on. We've got a local act. I believe his name is Clay Barker from Noblesville coming up a little bit later on tonight here too. But a lot of stuff going on, but the focus is IU and Oregon and that final college football semifinal. If you were watching things last night, it was entertaining, it was, but I could not get the thought out of my head that, it wasn't elite execution. It was two teams that just struggled defensively stopping one another. And I didn't really think either side of the football was that great. It was entertaining, but I didn't think it was that great. And it was Miami advancing. Now, yes, is it going to be a big deal that they're going to be able to play at home? And I'm sure that they're going to have more than what I'm predicting right now as a fan base coming up in that championship game. But, again, if it's IU that's representing in that national title game, I look out South Florida, especially considering what Kyle Kinnett has done with BullseyeEventGroup.com. You know, that tailgate, that whole weekend that we're going to do that we'll talk about over the course of the afternoon, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to make a significant decision once you find out what happens with the Hoosiers and the Ducks coming up later on tonight. And we have you covered top to bottom with that in mind. Bob Lovell, who has been around for so many years with Indiana Sports Talk, always joins us on Friday, and for a number of those years also did a Saturday college football show with former Hoosier Matt Surface, who is a friend of this show too, the former Hoosier linebacker. And Bob has kind of lived through the very light stages of IU football and now has been able to recognize where this program is currently, and that's pretty awesome. Bob's going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. We shall discuss that. Joel A. Erickson of the Star is going to chime in coming up a little bit later on. We've got Mike Wells of ESPN Radio, per usual, and we have got Fred Khalil. For those of you that may not know, especially the younger generation that's listening out there, Fred Khalil, long time, was a Wish TV Channel 8 sports director. And it may not have been him, but I thought it was. He certainly was in on the early stages. If you remember when all the television stations were like what Fox 59 does right now with 59 Overtime on Sunday nights that I'm a part of, everybody back then had their own Sunday night show. Now, you mentioned 59 Overtime. 13 had the Sports Jam with Dave Calabro when they gave more than a crap. RTV6 had Sports Nuts when they gave any crap. And you obviously had Wish TV Channel 8. And I think Sports Locker really started it all. At least that's the first that I remember. And Fred Khalil was a part of that. Fred Khalil also worked with a producer back then that I worked with when I did Weekend Sunrise at Channel 13 for 3 years. And that's Dan Huber. Dan Huber is one of the best producers / sports producers ever in this market. No longer is in the business, but put me on the path to Fred Khalil because Fred actually was a former walk-on linebacker back in the 70s with IU. He has since retired as a sports anchor down in Atlanta, Georgia, and Fred is going to the game coming up later on tonight. Fred's going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I don't think we've ever had him on, and kind of the dynamic at work here is when he had Sports Locker, you had Fred, you had Mark Patrick that I worked for the better part of 4 years on a different station on MPOS. You had Dick Ray, the Dick Ray, by the way, according to Mark Patrick, which is awesome. You had the late, great Robin Miller, who was also a part of that set a number of times. I mean, it was it for Sunday night programming back then, certainly. And Fred's going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour and talk up IU football, his experiences in the past of the program, and somebody that has been a fan for many years, much like many of you, that are soaking up the euphoria of what this means to you. Because certainly put, you never thought that that was going to happen. Fred's going to join us. He's going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Other than that, we are loaded up and ready to go. The constant reminders, bullseyeeventgroup.com. We'll get to that coming up in a minute. I should mention that last night the Pacers get their first win in a month, and it was significant in Charlotte because Rick Carlisle got win number 1,000. And I loved the way that the team, and you saw the video on the socials with the Pacers last night. I know that you go back to the postseason and all the way through Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and you're probably not going to get that overwhelmed and excited for a team that had lost 13 straight, that hadn't won in a month, and you're on the road in Charlotte beating the Hornets. But it was cool to see that. And I want to give props to guys. By the way, they got it done without Andrew Nembhard, who was injured last night, or at least out with injury. No Benedict Mathurin as well. Pascal Siakam continues to play at such a high level. That is a dude right there. It may be a worn-out dude at the end of the year, but that is an absolute dude. But a shout-out to Rick Carlisle for career win number 1,000 and the celebration of the locker room afterwards. And then the video that was put out with basically anybody that Rick had ever played with or ever coached or even knew, in terms of like Tony Romo, for example, his years in Dallas or his years in Detroit or his years here. It was incredibly cool to see that. Whether it was Luka or, again, Larry Bird was a part of that. The video was outstanding, and I sent him a text a little bit earlier today. I wanted to make sure he got that congratulations in, because believe me, if you're a competitor and you did what you did certainly a year ago, these guys are all competitors, and we make it easy to sit back and go, hey, great, you know what? It's a gap year, and things are going to be better next year. I don't care if they lose or what. That's not how these dudes think. These dudes want to win. These dudes are competitive. You just don't walk off the street all of a sudden to become that level of competitive and have that level of success without being just that. It is interwoven. It's a part of your fabric. So it's difficult for these guys to deal with, and there's probably nobody among them that would find it more difficult than that of Rick Carlisle. But congratulations to Rick on win number 1,000 last night. That was awesome. With the Pacers, a win in Charlotte, snapping a 13-game losing skid and winning for the first time in a month. All right, we do have hoop, IU hoop, Purdue hoop coming up this weekend. In fact, tomorrow as well. We'll get into that. And the NFL moves on without the Colts. We should be used to that by now. So the postseason moving on without the Colts. That's officially underway with a wild card weekend that extends into Monday. We'll break that down for you coming up as well. The stream, the app, it is HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today. It's really easy. Download the app to your smartphone. Hit that button. Become a AAA member today. The text line at 317-239-1070 is open as well. Everybody's thoughts on the matchup tonight. I didn't mean to oversimplify round number 2 with Oregon and IU for you, but that's the feeling I had after the Rose Bowl, and really nothing has changed in terms of the teams we watched last night. Again, who wins this game tonight wins it all. Round 2, the Ducks and the Hoosiers down in Atlanta, 7:30. You can watch that game here. And here with the doors wide open is our pre-Peach Bowl celebration. We're going to get the party on at Clayton's Country Bar, downtown Indianapolis. The stream, the app, HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Believe me, we're just getting started with your calls and more on this Friday, unlike we have ever seen around here. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. It's Johnny for Andy Moore, Buick GMC, 131st State Road 37. That is in Fishers. My friend Eric Wilson will show you the way to your new wheels in 2026. How about starting out the new year off right with that new set of wheels? And believe me, it's hassle-free. It's easy with Eric Wilson and his staff in Fishers at Andy Moore Buick GMC. The inventory, check out the incentives to buy, and so much more is right there. But make sure, thank you, BT Do. Make sure you check it out with my friend Eric Wilson at Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st State Road 37 in Fishers. Hey, John here for LD Smith Plumbing and Drains at 317-927-7186. Hey, seriously, we got sideways from the west rain last night. Anybody go through that late in the night? That is going to compromise drains. And you may have drains where you don't even know you have drains around your foundation, around your home. Make sure that they are clog-free, especially after a night like last night, and go with the best in plumbing. LD Smith Plumbing and Drains at 317-927-7186. Tell them I sent you online at ldsmithplumbing.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
You are more reptile than man, George. So low and flat that the foot of man is incapable of crushing you. How dare you!
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So the punter out there on the field is Kalen Crimmins. And a bad snap from center. Indiana's going to pick it up. D'Angelo Pines, touchdown! D'Angelo Pines picked up the loose ball that was snapped over the punter's head. And Indiana comes up with an incredible play and the first score of the game.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. A lot of IU highlights we'll roll back into over the course of the afternoon at Clayton's Country Bar. We're downtown, and this is where we're going to have a bit of a celebration. Actually, more than a bit of a celebration, a chunk of a celebration, and then get going on the Peach Bowl coming up later on tonight. 7:30, Oregon and IU. The sequel for the season going all the way back to early October. It was IU and Eugene on the road. And remember, it was like a pick six involved in that, or, really it would have been, a 13-point Oregon performance. I expect them to be much better tonight. Don't get me wrong, much better tonight. But the disappointment I'm going to have, I guess the way that I look at it, the disappointment I'm going to have is not from an angle of, hey, this is the little engine that could right here. Yeah, what I'm thinking about is IU looking the part of the favorite. That's not the upstart with a chip on their shoulder, us against the world. That's a physically flexing on both sides of the football team. And honestly, that's what I expect to see coming up tonight. Clayton's Country Bar downtown. I would love to see you. The doors are open. 239-1070 is that number. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from Indiana Sports Talk, he's living this right along with you, too, because a number of years he and former Hoosier Matt Surface did a college show every Saturday, hoping that the Hoosiers could turn something around, and rarely it happened. Bob Lovell is also living in this world of IU, presumably, and should be the favorite in a game tonight, and maybe even a favorite to win it all. Bob, good afternoon to you.
Hey, John, how are you?
Great, Bob. How are you?
You know what? We have new technology today, so I hope you can hear me all right, and I hope we're able to stay on the line. We'll just see how it goes.
Now, we'll do this check, kind of like Rex and Effect did in the 90s. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3. Do you got me okay there, Bob? Do I sound good to you?
No, you sound perfect. I mean, you sound like you ought to have your own show. So it's good.
I wish I could.
Yeah, me too. So we're all set. Bob, ready when you are. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to lob you this because you go back, years in doing your show in this market and this years of sports viewing and coaching in general. What do you make of the past 2 years, especially in what it's translating for IU in this football program after what you have seen for so many years with this group going into tonight at 7:30 in Atlanta?
Well, I think one of the things is the unique nature in which they've done it. They've taken advantage of the existing rules, taken advantage of the portal situation. They've been very judicious in terms of their recruiting the right kinds of guys for their program. There's no science to it. You just have to go out there and find people who are willing to do what you want them to do. They bring in people from successful programs who've had their level of success. Coach Signetti mentions quite a bit about the concept of production, and I think that's.
It sounds like Bob disappeared. James, I don't know if that technology is going to work right there. You let me know when you get Bob back in more conventional means, and we'll do that coming up in just a minute. Yeah, we were going to reflect with Bob Lovell on so many years of doing the Saturday afternoon show during the college football season, and constantly looking at IU as if you just get 6 wins or become bowl eligible, to what many would agree would become such an unrecognizable space right now. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, this is not like this little team that just hopes to get there and do something. To me, this is the favorite. And it's not from you're an Indy, so that's how you're going to talk it up. All you got to do is watch. Bob Lovell rejoins on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Go ahead and continue that reflection over the years with IU compared to what we have witnessed the last 2, and especially, Bob, going into tonight.
Well, John, I just think it's a situation where you went from being – it's a story that's made – it has to be a movie or movies made about this. Having lost more games than anyone in the history of college football, and in 2 years you bring in a brand-new coach, brand-new players, and you're potentially playing for a national championship. You have an undefeated season, a Heisman Trophy winner all in the same year. And this is the stuff of legend, quite frankly. And so why would you not? I mean, as a fan, as a media member, as a potential recruit, and your parents and everybody, why would you not want to be a part of something that exciting?
Yeah, it is. The thing that stood out to me, especially after almost a month off, Bob, and you saw all these other teams that got byes, very sluggish, right? On both ends, really, but certainly offensively. And a lot of people want to equate it to Alabama being down, but I just thought it was more the overwhelming physicality and execution of IU that looks like that they didn't miss a beat. So that, to me, has become the standard of what I expect to see against a tougher opponent tonight in Oregon. But certainly from an IU angle, that's my expectation on both sides of the football for them.
Oh, I agree with you. I think one of the big things that they've done is the fact that they have a really ideal practice situation where they go for no more than 90 minutes. And I coached a different sport for 30 years, but I'm telling you, this time of year, you just need to maintain a sharpness. You need to maintain timing and sharpness. You don't need to worry about conditioning or things like that. You need sharp minds and sharp bodies. And so to go out, they are as sharp as they can be, because I think it goes back to day one, and they have a routine. They're very focused in what they're trying to accomplish in practice. It's not all about a lot of reps. It's about execution of what you're supposed to do. And that doesn't take a toll on you. This is a long season. It's an incredibly long season if these guys seem to be as fresh as they were on the first weekend.
It's Bob Lovell, Indiana Sports Talk's got you covered tonight and tomorrow night with certainly everything, and this is going to be a major topic. Is there anything about Curt Cignetti, you being a former coach, that impresses you more than anything else he does? Any traits that you've noticed?
I think he's done a job of galvanizing a fan base that had been disappointed for a long, long time. And I think his business-like approach, his demeanor on the sidelines, his demeanor in interviews shows you that he is focused, laser focused on the task at hand. And I think he doesn't exude that personality of a Lee Corso or others. What he does exude is a man who knows what he's doing and knows what he wants done, and is going to make certain that it gets carried out to his expressed wishes. And so, I think there's nothing you can say, in my mind, nothing negative you can say about the man, what he's done, and what his team's been able to accomplish.
I will tell you this, the one thing that stands out to me, and I really put a magnifying glass on that before I brought you on, is being able to keep, to put together a veteran-laden team. They haven't played a lot together prior to, but played a lot of college football. But being able to keep your assistants, and I recognize where Oregon's got assistants going 19 different directions. I mean, IU's defensive and offensive coordinators remain the same, and I would have to think this time of year that's a hell of a big deal.
Well, it is. It's an enormous deal, and I think you start with Scott Dolson, the athletic director, and the administration in Bloomington for stepping up and paying Coach Cignetti and his staff what they deserve, and making this an attractive destination for coaches. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not a football coach, but if I were out there, part of the fraternity of football coaches, they talk, they all understand this is the kind of place, he's the kind of man, and this is the kind of place you'd like to be. And so it's unbelievable to have that continuity with your staff, your continuity with your staff and kids. The message is there. Those guys develop strong bonds between the assistants and the kids. And all you can do to maintain that does nothing but make you a better football team.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's Bob Lovell's got you covered on Indiana Sports Talk later on tonight. Obviously, the Peach Bowl, that is your focus. But yeah, high school basketball happening. You got college hoop coming up this weekend. Both IU and Purdue in action too. I know Butler's got some time off, and Rick Carlisle got career coaching win number 1,000 last night, which is absolutely incredible.
Oh, it is. I mean, try to process that for a second. 1,000 wins. He's won a championship. He's been close to a championship. You don't accumulate 1,000 wins if by not being good at what you do. And I think it's amazing, and he used to be congratulated and building a program, with the Pacers that, quite frankly, is in many respects the envy of a lot of other franchises around the league. The continuity, what they've been able to accomplish. They are a factor, and he's been right there in the middle of it. You see the respect people have. It's been parts of USA basketball teams, and again, 1,000. I don't care what you're doing. That's a lot. 1,000, especially winning basketball games, because, we talk about it all the time. It's not easy to win. He's done it 1,000 times in the NBA, which is an unbelievable number.
Yeah, I mean, doing something, too, and, winning a title as a coach and as a player and then getting 1,000 wins plus as a coach. I mean, you joined an elite club of Phil Jackson and Pat Riley, I think, and Rick Carlisle. So, I mean, that's rare air right there, to say the least, in basketball.
No question. And, he's I think he does it in a professional way, in a dignified way. I think he's honest with you've talked to him, you've interviewed him, been a part of that. He's an honest man. He's a man of integrity. You know where you stand. I think he's a brilliant mind. I think the other thing about him is he's a well-read and intentional type of person. And I think as a city, as a state, as a franchise, we're very lucky to have him.
Bob Lovell's got you. Speaking of being lucky, we are with Indiana Sports Talk tonight, tomorrow night. You raring to go, are you?
Absolutely. I mean, let's toss it up and let's go get it right now.
No, it's Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk has all that you need, and we'll have a full focus, obviously, on the Peach Bowl coming up later on tonight. Network Indiana affiliation around this fine state. Bob's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Have a great weekend, Bob. Enjoy the time.
Thank you, John. Have a great weekend yourself.
Bob Lovell of Indiana Sports Talk. There is no better way to start out a weekend than doing what I'm doing right now at Clayton's Country Bar downtown, hanging out with a lot of friends. We're going to get even more coming in here. So, listen, the doors open at 3 o'clock, normally at 5. I know we have coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. Mikey Good is going to be here right where I am on the stage right after I do a Devil Went Down to Georgia for everybody, because I'm really good at that. And Clay Barker, I want to say Clay, I think Jason Cornman told me that Clay was from Noblesville. And Clay comes your way here tonight at 10 o'clock. The guy that runs things, Steve's going to join us a little bit later on. Now, Clayton actually was in studio with me for a minute yesterday, and he is on his way to the Peach Bowl coming up later on tonight. But we got a lot of ways and means to get with you at 239-1070. That email address is jmv at 1075thefan.com. You got the text line, which is wide open at 317-239-1070. This was from Jack. JMV, I get what you mean by being disappointed if IU doesn't win at all. However, the reality is this team is full of three-star misfits and was the worst program in the country just 2 years ago. I don't care. If you watched them recently, team-wise, they have proven with how they played in this playoff so far between that and everybody else that I'm talking about in terms of execution and doing what they wanted to do against Alabama. That wasn't, no disrespect, Tulane or JMU. They depanced Alabama in the Rose Bowl and did it in a fashion in which you made Alabama quit. The whole three-star, it doesn't matter anymore. These guys, Jack, these guys are veterans that have played a lot of college football. And what they have done so far is shown you a level of execution that, face it, did you see that last night? Nothing against last night, what Miami did to win or Ole Miss being there. It was a very exciting game, but I wouldn't put that on the shelf of incredible levels of execution. I said it looked like a above middle of the road Big Ten October afternoon to me. There was no greatness there. I just think that if IU loses tonight or doesn't win the national title, I think they have to play down to these guys. And I don't care about their star ranking coming out of high school. I mean, hell, half these guys are grown-ass men now. That doesn't matter to me. Thank you, Jack, for that. All right, 239-1070, your calls on the other side. Mike Wells still to come. Joel A. Erickson of the Star on the way. And Fred Khalil, who is down in Atlanta, a former linebacking walk-on back in the 70s. You know him, too, certainly from his time here in Indy at Wish TV Channel 8. Fred's going to join us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. I want you to join us here at Clayton's Country Bar. Downtown Indy, open early just for you. And a Peach Bowl extravaganza is ready to go here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Hey, John here for WeGrowHairEndy.com. Real growing hair again is what you're looking for. I say this all the time. If you don't. If you want to be bald, be bald. I'm sure you look fantastic bald. But if you have the motivation and want the option of your real growing hair, simply put, it's a phone call away. 317-522-2995. Darren Andrews is standing by, awaiting your call. He'll explain to you what they can do to get your real hair growing again and maintain it, meaning keep it. That's WeGrowHairEndy.com, 317-522-2995. Again, WeGrowHairEndy.com today. Hey, John here for Bullseye, eventgroup.com. If the Hoosiers win coming up later on tonight, you guys ready for what is to come? This is, again, sign up right now, bullseyeeventgroup.com. Going to be the most fantastic weekend of all time coming up in South Florida with Bullseye. What they've done is a fully refundable 3-night package. Buy now to lock in your space, all right? So we know that there's been no determination that IU is going to be there yet. They have to win later on tonight. But if they do, this is what happens. Round-trip airfare, 3-night hotel accommodations at the Diplomat, by the way. Exclusive pregame events, which means a great party to get you off to the game. Game day transportation and a ticket to that championship game. Now, let's just say, for example, if IU doesn't win coming up later on tonight, this trip is fully refundable. So no reason why you should not log on right now at bullseyeeventgroup.com and go ahead and get that and make sure you are good to go for what is going to be, if IU wins, an absolute epic weekend in South Florida. Check it out right now. Size it up and make sure you're a part of this with bullseyeeventgroup.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Excuse me, sir. There's been a little problem in the cockpit.
The cockpit? What is it?
It's the little room in the front of the plane where the pilots sit. But that's not important right now.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
3 receivers, 2 near side, 1 to the far. That's Surratt. Here's the snap. Here's the throw. Catch is made. Hit a break. Down the middle of the field goes Surratt. Touchdown! And Indiana scores a 49-yard pass play and a break by Elijah Surratt that broke a tackle, and he takes it into the end zone.
That's Don Fisher just getting you primed, getting you prepped for what's coming later on tonight. Peach Bowl, and obviously we got to hear that from Don because he's going to be getting ready for the game later on tonight. So the 5 o'clock hour and our normal Friday event after that at our table in Burgersville will be postponed until the season is over, I guess I should say, for football, and then there's a better time to do it around his basketball schedule. Thank you for joining us. We are live back at Clayton's Country Bar. We are downtown. Again, thank you all for joining us. And we want to see you here. A little party with the Peach Bowl party happening here, which is certainly outstanding here. We'll get you going up until 7:30 for that. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the superintendent, Brad Sammons, was down there and told me it was like 25-1 IU fans to Oregon fans in Atlanta. I think Kevin right now is down in GA with a little bit of conversation about that very thing. A lot of IU fans down there, Kevin?
What's going on, JMV? We're down here in Atlanta. We've got my twin brother David. We got Michael, Lisa, Corey, and there's a bunch of us down here getting ready to yell, who's Hoosiers? And we were told that it's 99-1. We were told 1% Oregon fans, 99 in red. It's unbelievable down here at JMV. I'm telling you, the beautiful radio station 105, the fans should have put forth $10 million to send you and your beautiful crew down here to put on a great show, man. You guys would have had a blast down here, man.
Well, yeah, listen, Kevin, you guys got to bring this home with the Hoosiers so we can all go down to South Florida next weekend.
We're bringing it home. We've got a prediction. This is my prediction, 33-3, go IU. We're going to have a blast, JMV, man, too. And do you get to go to Miami next week?
I do. I'm going to go with Bullseye. If IU wins, I'm going with Bullseye. And let me tell you, you better buckle it up, Kev, if you guys go back down there. You better buckle it.
I'm telling you, it is not going to be a road show at the Fan unless you take the Van Horn twins with you, because I guarantee you it will be a road show beyond anything the Fan has ever experienced. You will have a blast with the Van Horn twins.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is going.
Hi to JMV back in how are you?
I'm great. I got to hear more about the twins here, Kevin. A little bit more.
Go ahead. David, he wants to hear a little bit more about the twins. We're 68-year-old retired school teachers.
Lisa is way more attractive.
Lisa is way more attractive than the twins. And here's my brother Dave. I'm going to let him say hi to you. Hey, guys, how is that Indianapolis? And I should say, great big huge audience from 50,000 watts of power doing there up in the Indiana region.
Bad. You're putting. I tell you what. Hey, Dave, you sound exactly like your brother Kevin. I can tell you guys are related. You guys sound exactly alike. It sounds like Kevin just said, "Hey, here's Dave," and kept talking.
That's David. We get that all the time. We're having a blast down there. My son called me and said, "Dad, call JMV. They've got a listening audience tuned in right now, and the kids are in the back seat of the car. So I'm going to say hi to Casey, Casey, Elizabeth, Paul, and Sam coming away from Franklin Central Middle School right now."
That is outstanding. Hey, Dave, you and Kevin and the twins, you guys have a great time down there. And like I said, bring it home so we can all go to South Florida. All right?
You certainly will, baby. JMV, you better take us with you on that. It might not be a $10 million budget, but at least a $10,000 budget. Take us with you,
listen,
man.
we don't need any place to sleep. We don't need any place to sleep. We're just going to go. We'll get enough sleep when it's over, right?
Down in Miami, we can pitch a tent on the sidewalk and nobody would say anything.
All right, guys. Hey, enjoy the game later on tonight. Thanks for the call.
We will. See you later, JMV. Thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye.
It's Kevin and Dave and the Twins, and a shout-out to those Franklin Township. Franklin Township's got to go next week, too. And that is why it's ultra important to beat the Ducks in round number 2 coming up later on tonight, because that's the type of atmosphere that I want to be a part of. Clayton's Country Bar, we're downtown. I'd love to see you guys down here. A little pre-Peach Bowl party for you before things get underway coming up at 7:30. I also should mention, too, that you got music. The lineup later on tonight is Mikey Good, who's on stage at 6. I think Steve told me that Mikey is acoustic, and then Clay Barker. Clay is on stage at 10 o'clock tonight. And we're going to watch the game here. Hell, I'm just going to stay and watch, too. You should as well. Clayton's Country Bar is our location. Jolie Erickson, Mike Wells, and Fred Khalil all still on the way. Don't go anywhere. We're the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. You guys can watch the stage behind me or just crank it up with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Oh, it's John here for Big Red Liquors, the Four Roses Barrel Pick Trip Giveaway. You guys ready? Now through the 10th. I've got to look at my calendar here. How much more time do we have to be talking about that? Oh, yeah, you got a day to get signed up. So you enter for your chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime Four Roses Barrel Pick experience. No purchase necessary at 100-plus Big Red Liquors locations that are throughout the state of Indiana. BigRedLiquors.com for more information. So what happens is that you plus 3 friends can travel to Cox's Creek, Kentucky, meet February the 18th at the Four Roses warehouses, right? Taste multiple recipes, help select barrels that will, at some point in the future, be on store shelves once per day to sign up. So you should do that, and do that rather quickly at Big Red Liquors. Ask at checkout how you can get involved in the Four Roses Barrel Pick Trip Giveaway at Big Red Liquors. Big Red Liquors powers the JMV Takeover, by the way, every Saturday night, 6 until midnight on B105.7. For that and for great big game or big game weekend deals, find it online, BigRedLiquors.com.
The Ride with JMV.
We have the holy hand grenade.
Yes, of course. The holy hand grenade of Antioch. Right. 1, 2, 5. Lisa, 3.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Fernando takes the snap. They pressure him. The throw to the end zone. Touchdown! EJ! Wow, what a play. And it was actually Surratt who made the catch.
That's Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. You got Don coming up later on tonight, don't you? Yeah, you do. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, and IU obviously Peach Bowl bound. And round number 2 with the Oregon Ducks coming up later on tonight. We're live at Clayton's Country Bar downtown. We got a lot going on, too. We're going to get to Joel A. Erickson in just a second. Fred Khalil's in Atlanta. He was once upon a time a Hoosier football walk-on back in the 70s, but most notably around here, you remember him from Wish TV Channel 8. Wells, bottom of the hour. I mentioned Joel in just a second, but I think J-Law is loaning it, I think, down in Atlanta right now. J-Law, are you by yourself down there?
Where are we going to next? Yeah.
J-Law, are you there, or are you talking to somebody else?
Shotsky?
Yes.
And I tell you what, James, I think J-Law is talking to somebody else because I just heard Shotsky, which means he's at a tailgate someplace right there. So I tell you what, hold on to J-Law. We'll do that in a second. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, Joel A. Erickson of the Star covers the Colts. Kind enough to join us once again on this Friday. We'll get to some nuts and the bolts of yesterday with Ballard and Carly Ursay-Gordon going all the way back to Monday. But obviously not from around here originally. What's this whole IU run and all the energy surrounding IU football right now mean to you kind of on the outside looking in, Joel?
I think it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty fun. And, my wife's a teacher at Southeastern Elementary out in Fishers. And I was asking her, did a bunch of kids show up today in IU gear? Because I remember when I was a kid, growing up in Wisconsin and the Packers made the Super Bowl, it was like a statewide event, And she said, yeah. She said a lot of the kids today had their IU stuff on. I know while I was at the gym today, there was a ton of people in IU gear. There was one guy in a Miami jersey. He was wearing his Miami football jersey to do his workout, which, listen, hey, I get it. They're in the championship, all that stuff. Anytime, I think the biggest thing is it's fun to me that it's fun that it's teams that don't or haven't been there. I know obviously Miami has a history of being there, but they haven't been there in 23 years. So IU obviously has never been there. So getting to see teams that haven't been a part of it get to experience it is fun.
I was going to ask you this because you've followed sports for a while, but you certainly can cover it greatly, can canvass that because you're younger than me. But I'm curious. I've said that Curt Cignetti has performed in the past 2 years, as we witness right now, the greatest coaching job we've ever seen. What would ring a bell to you as, if not Cignetti and what he has transformed now in such a short time, this IU football program into, what would ring a bell with you as far as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, coaching job that you've ever witnessed?
I don't think I can imagine another coaching job like this. But, I saw somebody say maybe you'd have to go across the pond and go to Leicester City a couple of years ago, winning in the Premier League, to have something even remotely comparable, just because I think I've said this a couple of times, but, I was looking at not knowing the history of IU football intimately the way other people did. Like, I know they haven't been great, but also just kind of thinking through it. I remember looking while they were beating Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game and realizing, they'd only been to 14 bowl games before this year, which is crazy. That's such a low number for Cignetti to take a program like that and turn it into something this dominant and this complete in essentially no years. I can't imagine. I've thought about it long and hard. I don't know what a better coaching job could be.
Yeah, I the same thing here too, because even if if you take, for example, Brad Stevens and Butler, but Butler had been had been very competitive, higher level competitive, just not to back-to-back championship game competitive, but certainly higher level competitive. But, I mean, you basically go from the ground floor to the penthouse in 2 years. And, listen, there are very few, if any, I think, examples of that, especially historically speaking, with an IU football program that up until this year was the most losing program in the history of college football.
Yeah, even like you talk about Saban rescuing Alabama. Even that is something that took him. Like, they weren't good the first year. They were 6-7, 7-6, something like that. The first year before they transformed into a powerhouse, and that's Alabama. That's a team that was down, obviously, but had a ton of history. So I can't imagine. I just can't imagine, just with essentially no history of the football program. And I do understand that the paradigm is shifting a little bit with NIL, and teams can do stuff that they haven't been able to do in the past. But still, really, really, just an incredible thing to change the perception of the program that quickly.
You got a call with IU and Oregon coming up later on tonight in round number 2 in Atlanta?
I think IU is the most complete team left. I can't imagine, just based on the few games I've seen of IU and the few games I've seen of the other teams. I think they're by far the most complete team.
I said this earlier. I'm going to have a level of disappointment, and you mentioned complete. I just talked about execution and physicality, and they have played the most complete / best game, executed the best in any single game that we have seen in this college football playoff. And whether or not you buy that Alabama was worthy or not very good, in the fashion in which IU went about their business with holding on to the football, with the lack of penalties, and just executing. We haven't seen it. We didn't watch it last night in that other semifinal. It was entertaining, Joel, at the end, but it wasn't that. And that's why I'm going to be disappointed if they don't win tonight, if IU doesn't win tonight, and if they don't win at all, because, as you mentioned, they do look to be the most complete team we have seen, certainly those remaining.
They can beat you up front. They tackle well in the secondary. They cover well in the secondary. They don't have the lapses that you see from other teams. I think the front is the biggest thing, especially with Miami being the opponent, because Reuben Bain is incredible. But he's just one guy, and you kind of saw with Ole Miss last night that you can scheme your way around that with quick throws and stuff like that. So I can't imagine. Obviously any team can win if you play a bad game, but it just feels to me that they're the team that has the most ways to beat you, and that if you take away one thing, they've got another way to get you.
Joey Erickson of the Star, who is joining us every Friday, he does, 4 o'clock hour on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Clayton's Country Bar downtown. We're going to get you set, a little pregame party for the Peach Bowl, and a lot of great stuff happening coming up here a little bit later on tonight. So anything stand out to you about yesterday? Nothing to me, and I guess I kind of fall in line in the category of been there and done that with these postseason scenarios recently with Chris Ballard, but did anything else stand out to you?
The biggest thing that stood out to me was just saying we need to overhaul the defense. More speed, more use on the defense. He said some nice things about the linebackers who they've had, but I think that's one spot that you look at. That's a veteran, slower group. And then obviously everybody knows that the defensive ends are the other spot that you'd think you'd – and the other thing I think that stuck out was that he said, he acknowledged that he was more aggressive this year. I wondered if he would do that, because in the past, when he's made a move, like when he traded for Buckner, we asked him about being more aggressive, he would say, well, we're always aggressive. It's just that one happened to go through. But this time he acknowledged being more aggressive. He kind of had to. Carly Ursay said it multiple times. But he acknowledged it, and he said that they were going to be more aggressive like that going forward, which that's interesting to know, that more of the free agent stuff that we saw last year is what we should expect.
So Joey Erickson of the Star, is DeForest Buckner going to be included? Was he one of those guys that they were talking, or he was talking about in terms of getting younger up front, or if he is planning on returning, which he does, is it a foregone conclusion he's going to be playing football next year here?
I think he's coming back. He was still when he was healthy, he was still by far the most effective force on that defensive line. You know, if you look at games before he got hurt, they had 26 sacks in 8 games. Games after he got hurt, and this includes the one that he was back, but I think we all know, you know, the fact that he went right back on IR means he wasn't himself. 13 sacks in 9 games. He is still the only difference maker. So I would expect that. I think you probably saw the Instagram post that suggested he was coming back. I would expect him to be back because he's the only guy. Let's be honest, he's the only guy on the front that you can count on to get consistent pressure.
What do you expect them to do to try to create some space to pay guys? Because, you know, you mentioned they want to revamp some things defensively. What are they going to try to do that? I mean, we seen, you mentioned Zaire Franklin, and I'm sure a lot of Colts fans are probably going to be happy to see that particular exit right here. But anybody else you think that jumps off the page we might have seen the last of play in a Colts uniform after this past year?
I think it's possible we've seen the last of Michael Pittman. Pittman himself kind of acknowledged that, but you know, I think that's definitely possible. That he's one of the guys that's gone, just because I assume you're going to have to pay Alec Pierce, and with the needs on defense, can you pay 2 receivers upwards of $50 million or whatever it's going to cost?
Yeah, it's got to be different too. No doubt. Had they not made that deal for Sauce Gardner at the trade deadline, do you think a change is made, or does Carly Ursay Gordon stay the path with this group right now, and especially in terms of that of Chris Ballard?
I think she sticks with it because her reasoning was that they thought that they had something going, and that's why they made the trade for Sauce Gardner, and that's the same reason she cited as why they ended up deciding to to keep him. So I do think that she sticks with it.
Daniel Jones, is he going to be ready to start the season too? I mean, I think everybody kind of outlined late July as maybe a target, maybe early August. Do you expect, because obviously they want him back, and it looks as if he wants to come back. I guess this is twofold here. Is that the timetable that you would agree with? Plus, what type of money, what type of contract do you expect him to get here?
So, previous to the injury, I would have said that the obvious thing to do, all contracts are comparisons. It just, that's kind of how it works. It's based on other people who sign like it. So before the injury, I would have said the obvious thing is you take Baker Mayfield's deal, which I think is 3 for $100, and Sam Darnold's deal, which I think is 3 for $100.5, and you just somewhere, maybe you move it up a little bit because the cap's gone up, but somewhere in there, I still think they probably try to his side probably tries to argue that. So I think you're probably looking at that. And then the big question is the guarantees and how they're set up. Are there less guarantees, that kind of thing?
And hey, thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. Come hell or high water on Alec Pierce, what's that going to look like? And it seems like that he was wide open to returning. But what has to happen? What do you expect him to get paid? Franchise tag, utilization, and I would think his market value around the NFL, if he really wanted to test it or had the capability of doing so, would be outrageous after the past 2 years. Is it a foregone conclusion that he returns to you?
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I do think it's if they get Daniel Jones back, it makes it more likely. Those two are very close. He said outright the other day that getting Jones back would play a big role in his decision making. I think that I think that though his representation probably thinks the same way that you and I do, that if he gets to the open market, there's going to be teams that want him. Like, just off the top of my head, Buffalo, you know.
Yeah, I just think about Kansas City, especially in their situation, the latest with Rice and, you know, what you're having to deal with. There are a lot of teams that would want that particular, I think, influence that he gives. But, Joel, I can't get past the fact that he to me, he's mandatory with the Colts, because Daniel Jones, without him, has zero downfield presence. And to me, that's what you're riding on with this in mind.
Well, I think more important than the downfield presence is he's the guy who can do the most things. You know, the Pittman has limitations, Downs has limitations. Pierce can give you, I think, a lot of what Michael Pittman has given you over the years. But he also, like you said, has the downfield presence. He's the closest one to what we think of as the number one receiver who can do whatever the Colts need him to do.
So Joel A. Erickson, he's of the Star on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Going to be interesting. For example, let's fast forward here for a moment and look ahead. Let's just say IU wins later on tonight. And knowing the IU fan base, as we've seen it, rabid certainly about this football program because this is all kind of new experiences here. And somebody had told me earlier, well, Miami's going to play a home game basically coming up for the national title. I don't think that other than the familiarity with the field matters very much because I think wherever IU goes, they're going to have more fans than anybody at this point.
Say it again, sorry.
I think wherever IU goes, they go to the national title game, much like tonight, I think they're going to have a lot more fans, even than Miami playing, in South Florida, as they will for the national title. You agree?
Yeah. I mean, if you're an IU fan, I assume you've been lining this up for a while because, a friend of mine, I was talking with somebody earlier about, making the decision to go do to something like this, even with the cost. A good friend of mine told me a long time ago, like if it's something that either just you never thought could happen or probably isn't going to happen for a while, you just do it. You just go ahead and do it. Yeah. You figure it out, and because you don't know for sure. And I think, obviously IU is set up to go back over and over again, but I still wouldn't bet on it. I think plus just being there for the first one is such a big deal, and I think everyone goes. I saw someone sent me a ticket prices for that game, and they are crazy. They're like Super Bowl level ticket prices already.
It is. I get to go with Bullseye, so it is mandatory they win later on tonight. I think you would agree with me. I need a little bit of a getaway like that, don't I, Joe? Hey, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that
absolutely.
You're a dude. You're a family man right there, right? And you're very, at least what I gather, you're a reserved family man. Would you like to spend a weekend in South Florida hanging out with me at these parties?
I think it'd be very fun. I think I don't know that I'd be able to swing it, but it would be very fun. Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh yeah, I will set a pace unlike any other 56-year-old in your existence. I promise you that. The pace setter I am. Hey, Joe, I appreciate it. We'll continue conversations, too, but you've been awesome every Friday right here in full detail, getting you set for a Colts weekend. Yet another bummer, a fifth straight bummer of not being a part of the postseason and watching other teams start that thing up coming up tomorrow. But we'll see what happens coming up and continue the Colts conversation with you. I got to thank you for coming on as much as you have and really showing up. You showed up at the Ale going back a couple of months, too. So it was awesome.
Yeah,
I'll do it again
told
sometime.
You, if I can work it with, like you said, I'm a family man. I've got a lot of stuff going on. But if I have time, I'll always try to show up at least when I can.
That's outstanding. Hey, Joe, you've been awesome. We'll continue the conversation up. Have a great weekend, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Joel A. Erickson of the Star. I don't know if I can talk to James right now. I don't know if James, do you have the capabilities of speaking with me, or is it kind of awkward?
It's a little awkward, but I can do it if given a bit of time.
Like, size up Joel hanging out with me for a championship weekend in and around Miami. Would that work?
I think that'd be
Or are you skeptical?
I think that would be a good time. I am skeptical on if he would actually do it, but I think it would be a fun time. I think he'd have a great time down there.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way. I mean, his wife would step in and go, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Probably
kind
not.
of where my thoughts are going to.
I'd agree. That's James back in the studio. Clayton's Country Bar is our location. The owner, Steve's going to join us coming up a little bit later on because we've got music coming at you. And not only that, but a pre-Peach Bowl party. Doors normally open at 5. They'd open it up at 3 today for us. I'm enjoying Michelob Ultra, courtesy of BT Dew and John. I know Harley D is here. This is his hangout location. I got a lot of friends. We want more friends as we move forward to what is incredible, and that is IU in the college football playoff semifinal in football. Round 2, that with the Oregon Ducks, 7:30 is that kick. I should remind you of this, too, because I know you may have checked out a little bit because the Colts are done, but NFL wildcard playoff action starts tomorrow. 4:30, Rams and Panthers in Charlotte. 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, the Packers and the Bears. That is an Amazon Prime. I think, James, I ordered for the first time ever off of Amazon this week with Nathaniel's help.
That's the first time you've ever done that?
I've never done it until this week, and it completely jacked up my card, too, by the way.
Oh, really?
I had to stay on hold with my bank last night because I think it was so out of the ordinary for me. They go, somebody had to have stolen his card.
They flagged it as fraudulent?
Yeah, you know what I bought?
What did you buy?
I bought 2 things. I bought a box of Quest bars, peppermint bark, and a Cole Caulfield Montreal Canadiens jersey for Blake. I bought 2 things. And I was on hold all night with these guys because I think it was so out of the ordinary that I'd never done it before. So because it was such a pain in my ass, they ended up giving me like Amazon Prime for free for a certain amount of time.
Oh, there you go. Amazon Prime's actually not the worst thing in the world. I don't have it personally, but I have used it before, and it's not bad.
Does it got substantial nudity on there and old school stuff that I'll dig?
The Prime Video's got some good stuff on there for sure.
All right, then. Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever ordered on Amazon was last night, and it got all jacked up. I go, man, this is exactly why I don't do it. Give me the mall, by God. But I did it. Quest bars. Wait a minute. How about next time I just go to Kroger and get them? Actually, you can't get these at Kroger, I don't think. Because you know me, Mr. Protein right here. We are live. I want to see you here, too. Clayton's Country Bar, thank you all for joining us. Steve, as the owner, is going to join us a little bit later on. I would love to see you. We're going to watch IU here later on tonight, too. Take a break. We'll come back. Mike Wells, ESPN Radio. Fred Khalil's got a story. He's going to join us after 5. Stay right there. It's 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Oh, I got you covered. Bullseye, eventgroup.com. I've been talking about this trip for the past couple of days. So if IU wins, this is what we're going to do for the championship game weekend. This is going to be awesome. Round-trip airfare, 3-night hotel accommodations, exclusive pregame events, game day transportation, and tickets to the championship game. That's down in South Florida. By the way, our stay is in the Diplomat. Plus, you're going to be hanging around with me. So I will Pied Piper you to all the parties. And you know Kyle Kinnett has cobbled together the greatest party experience of all time. IU fans, this is for you. Now I know also what you're saying. Well, wait a minute. They haven't advanced yet. They haven't won yet. What does that mean? Here's what that means. If they lose to Oregon later on tonight, this is fully refundable for you. It is that simple. That's simple to do right now with bullseyeeventgroup.com. Log on and check it out. We would love to have you as a part of this incredible giveaway, or getaway, I should say. Not giveaway, but getaway, coming up next weekend for what is going to be a national title in football weekend. Again, fully refundable if IU does not win later on tonight. But the party is on in South Florida if they do. Check it out right now, bullseyeeventgroup.com. Hey, John here for the District Tap. 2 locations, not too far from where I'm sitting right now. The District Tap downtown location, Clearwater Crossing. I'm telling you, damn good food, happy hour specials, and music this weekend as well. They have event space for you, and what that means is they've got everything you need. You're not going to miss a moment of any action whatsoever at the District Tap. Downtown, Clearwater Crossing, North Side. Check out all they have to offer. Do that right now, thedistricttap.com.
The Ride with JMV.
I love JMV. He looks like Rascal Flatts guy.
Got a cool soul patch.
He does, and a buttery smooth voice.
Oh, yeah.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Whittington, the running back alongside Dante Moore. He takes the snap. He throws it. It's tipped up in the air. Indiana intercepts it. Indiana comes up with a football. Lewis Moore with the interception. And Indiana will take over the ball now. Let's see where they mark it down. But Indiana comes up with a turnover, and that is huge. And this place is gone quiet here in Eugene.
See, that was Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, the first meeting in Eugene, Oregon between Oregon and IU, won by IU, and that did set the pace. And the reason why we bring that up right now is because that is going to be key to tonight's game, and it always is. I mean, this is not anything that's original, but if you get turned over, you're going to lose this game. And that is why I have been digging on the incredible execution of IU And I've been talking about that so far on the show because that is the biggest key. Yeah, there's no doubt. And Kurt Cignetti talked about it yesterday, how Oregon's going to come out, do some different things, try to, get better on things that weren't that great in that first meeting back in October, but not turning over the football. And then turning over Oregon like Lewis Moore did. That was a big moment. Honestly, that and the Frankie kick from 58 to end the half. Remember that put IU up 13-10 going back to October in Eugene? That may have been the two biggest moments of the season outside of Omar Cooper or Charlie Becker in the Penn State game. God, now I'm all of a sudden game flooded with great moments of the season with IU football. Clayton's Country Bar is our location. Hey, James, is Mike Wells coming up here too?
Yes, he is.
All right, Mike, sit tight. I do want to get down to Atlanta, Georgia right now with our good friend J-Law before I get to Mike. Hello, J-Law. How are you?
Hey, John. Sorry about that earlier, but my Shotsky's a little popular.
Well, I mentioned when I heard you say Shotsky off the air in the background, I knew you were not ready for prime time.
Dude, let me tell you, Bloomington, Georgia is awesome. It is all
That's
red.
what I've heard. I have heard that it is all IU fans down there. All right, tell me some stories here quickly. What do you got?
Well, I got the bartender to keep the bar at the hotel open for 2 additional hours last night with a Hoosier hospitality and a couple of 20s. And had a good time. Guy next to me kept falling asleep and told me the same story every time he woke up.
Well, sweet. Was it a good story? That's all that matters.
No, it was awful.
Oh, cool. Hey, great. Well, all right. Hey, give me a
time. Everybody's having a good time.
Give me a quick thought on tonight's game because this is important because they have to win tonight for us all to go to South Florida with Bullseye coming up next weekend. So, make sure you make this good. What's your call?
Well, I think it'll be the Hoosiers by 14. I'll be a two touchdown score.
2 touchdowns right there.
Well, because the running back broke his collarbone. He's also their blocking back. So, and then the other running back went to the portal. So they only got like 2 healthy running backs, I guess. So, and
out of the transfer portal,
Yeah, and these guys are just so efficient. And it's crazy. It's surreal. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, being a longtime fan and season ticket holder, I mean, we're soaking up every minute.
100%. Yeah. Hey, J-Law, have a great time. Lots of pictures. And if they win, we're all going to South Florida next weekend. Okay, buddy?
Absolutely. Love you, brother.
Right back at you. J-Law's in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready for the Peach Bowl. We're at Clayton's Country Bar getting ready for a couple of musical acts and a lot of Peach Bowl action on the big screens here. We would love to see you. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from ESPN Radio, actually staked out in Bloomington a couple of days a week, teaching young minds what to do in the world of media. It's Mike Wells. Hello, Mike.
What's going on, Jay? And I was down in Bloomington earlier today. Classes start on Monday, so I like to go down and get situated, knock off all the spider webs out my office because I haven't been on campus since the semester ended. And I went to go get some lunch Kirkwood. And while Bloomington is really a ghost town right now because it appears just about anybody with ties to IU is down in Atlanta, I got to tell you, this was at 12:30. Kickoff is at 7:30 tonight. Kilroy's was already open and had the windows open. Upstairs had folks there. It was buzzing along Kirkwood already at 12:30 this afternoon. And it's not like this is a July day where you're enjoying the nice outdoors on Kirkwood. We're talking about, this is January and folks are already getting excited for kickoff tonight.
Did you? I mean, obviously you've been around that campus for a while now, and certainly historically it's always been about basketball, but this is just such a unique time. And Mike, I've kind of framed this up as follows. It's not, listen, you got to take advantage of where you are when you are because you're not promised anything, but this is a team as long as Cignetti and the resources maintain because of what they want to do and because of their plan or their blueprint, that I believe in just longer than these past 2 years. Like, I don't think this is just the little engine that could. I think now this is a college football power that we see flexing right before us in a brand new landscape and a brand new college football era.
Yeah, you would have thought, okay, they got to the college football playoffs last year, lost to Notre Dame, one-hit wonders, vanilla ice type situations where they're one and done. I mean, but no, they built on what they did last year to be in a position they're in right now. But think about all the portal stories you've been reading this week. How many players that are already coming to IU that are, had options at other schools? How old are you? 50 what? 52?
56. Can you believe that? Okay. 56. So I know I look about 36, but yeah, 56. In
the 56 years you've been on this planet, I promise you, there's no way in hell you ever thought IU football would have been buzzing like this, where kids want to come play for Kirk Signetti and be part of this program, part of this culture, and hopefully be part of a program that's going to be a national contender for years to come. I don't think anybody in their rightful mind ever thought that.
One of my greatest stories of all time, I had a couple of them, and they both involve Ohio State. But going back to high school, a friend of mine, we would go to games, IU games, and once upon a time we went to IU Ohio State. I think this was around 86, maybe, something like that. And Jim Carsados was the Buckeyes quarterback and threw a touchdown pass to Chris Carter, who proceeded to do an end zone celebration. The Pee Wee Herman dance? He did the Pee Wee Herman dance and spiked the football, and the football bounced up to me because I was in the end zone. And there was hardly anybody there. I mean, I was just kind of sitting by myself, and it bounced right to me.
And you probably could have yelled out and said, "Hey, Chris Carter, thank you," or "Chris Carter, F you," and he would have heard you.
Yeah, easy. And I've actually had him on the show before and told him, and he remembered that moment of doing that dance in the end zone. But, those were the days, Mike, when you used to have Ohio State or Wisconsin come to Memorial Stadium, that they would get, the cover shot photo because the place would be full of red, but it would be mostly full of red with the opposition's fans on the road coming to Bloomington. And, yeah, there's no doubt you never thought this was going to happen, but NIL and the transfer portal and the willingness of Scott Dolson and IU to financially invest at this level, knowing how important football is, that is what changed the dynamic altogether. It just has.
Yeah, it is a treat. I've said this countless times since during this football season that nobody's even thinking about the IU basketball team, and this is not a insult to them or slap in their face. It's just IU football has not only become the darlings of the state of Indiana, they've become the college football darlings around the entire country because the way Kirk Signetti has come in and planted his flag here in Bloomington and done things the right way. And you got a quarterback who you don't hear negative things about. When is the last time you truly heard anything negative about an IU football player? I don't think there's been much in the 2 years Kirk Signetti has been here. So it is like, they're on the brink of becoming America's college football team.
All right. Give me things that may be different later on tonight in round number 2 of this Ducks and Hoosiers matchup, or things for the most part that IU fans hope that could very well in Atlanta, Mike, tonight be the same. Anything come to mind?
I mean, the reality is, as long as IU fans just want them to win, but I can see this being a higher scoring game than the first meeting. I can see it, and that's on both sides. I'm not looking at just simply as IU get more than 30 points, but I can see it could be both teams being even more explosive. I know Oregon's dealing with the running back situations out there, but I think it'd be more high scoring. And I'm curious on, once the game gets started, if either team held something back, knowing there was a possibility they could have played again in the playoffs.
I just think the pressure that I hope that they're able to put on Dante Moore is the biggest of keys. And we go back to when we brought you on, Don Fisher had that call of Lewis Moore with that interception. that was one of the bigger moments, I think, because it got IU started out in the right way of any moment this season. We think about Omar Cooper Jr. and the catch at Penn State and, Charlie Becker and the catch prior to that as big moments, and definitely they were. But getting to more and turning Oregon over, I think, really led to ultimately what we saw in that win. And I think oftentimes Frankie's 58-yarder that put IU up 13-10, I think that was before the half, was one of the larger moments of the season as well. Both of those situations took place in that game in Eugene back in October.
Everything you alluded to is great. And I got to tell you, because I know we're running up against it on our time, but it's got to be damn good that we're talking about IU football now and not two press conferences that occurred earlier this week on West 56th Street where, in my opinion, there wasn't much said. So it is a great time for IU football to be playing in the college football playoffs with knocking on the door, playing for a national championship on January 19th.
Have you ever witnessed, and I know you weren't a part of it actively working, but two press conferences that, as it turned out, were just completely unnecessary? Yeah, you didn't learn anything. I mean, they're both unnecessary.
Listen, I learned nothing from the franchise. Well, what I did learn is there's a lot of buffoons on social media who loves saying the media is not doing its job. I did learn that there's a lot of buffoons who just say stupid ass things out there on social media. But yeah, that's the only thing I learned. But no, there was not much said that, in my opinion, has anybody to say, okay, this is going to be a great 2026 season or what to expect coming forward this offseason for the Colts.
I got to remind people that you don't cover the Colts anymore. That you're not going to be at a press conference and asking questions. I do constantly remind. Sometimes you just got to remind people, subtly or not so subtly, that you don't have any part of that.
I find it comical that I haven't covered that football team. The last game I covered for the Indianapolis Colts was the game where Carson Wentz and the Colts basically tinkled down their legs in Jacksonville in the final week of the season. The 2021 season was the last time I covered the Indianapolis Colts, and it's just comical that people want to tag me on Twitter still. I'm just like, that tells you the dollars right there. If I'm still getting tagged, after being gone from ESPN now for over 3 years, it's just. But hey, it is what it is. I'm sorry that not everybody can be as smart on things.
I will tell you this. I always give credit to those that attend and ask questions because I don't, and I'm not gonna. And I do this. Yeah.
You don't act like it either, though. You don't act like, I would do this because you're not there. I mean, at least you do show up on Sundays, though. I've seen you.
I do, but I'm not going to criticize anybody like that for doing what they're doing, and I'm not doing it. Now I'm still going to have an opinion, and listen. In the past, there have been people, and I know people from the Colts have often wondered, hey, why don't you go? Because this is the form in which I care about. My concentration is on this show. My concentration is not making sure I go and be heard asking questions. And I know, like, for example, with us, Kevin and James do a great job of doing that, but that's not going to be me, and it was never me. And I still think that I handle things as fair and as balanced and certainly as informative as you possibly can. So I've just never been that type of guy to rip on these guys. They're doing their job to their best of ability, and I am too, and that's that.
Yeah, essentially, you're not standing on the top of the mountain screaming like you are. That you're the team know-it-all and everything. But hey, it is what it is. But I got to say this though. Again, yes. I need IU to handle the business because I'm back on ESPN Radio tomorrow night from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And last week I loved talking about the Hoosiers out there. And it'll be a great show tomorrow night with a win because I'm going to hype them up even more. NFL playoff talk, so I can't wait. And, brother, more important, I want to see you in South Florida walking around South Beach in your
Speedos have been turning heads down there, bro.
Yes. I went and picked out a Speedo the other day at Kohl's just for the occasion, so I'm ready to go.
Yes, I love it. I love it, and I love that I'm getting text messages on how on things that we're talking about and people being critical on social media. I love it, brother. Have a great weekend, man.
Right back at you.
I'll talk to you next week, brother.
Yeah, hey, I went to Kohl's and tried on. Is that cool to try on Speedos and then put them back? And no, but I'm good to go. I just have to have IU back this thing up. Coming up later on tonight. And then we're going to go down and have a hellaciously awesome time with Bullseye. I've also said this before because I catch a lot of flack. People say, hey, you're 56. You're too old to be doing that. And I'm not dead. I may be old. I'm 56 and I'm old. I don't act like I'm 56. And I'm never, frankly, going to act too old to do anything. Because while I'm here, I am going to have a tremendous time. And I don't give a damn what anybody says about it. I don't give a damn how you judge it or anybody judges it. Here's what you should do. Don't be judgy. Just join it. I'm wide open. Everybody can join the party with me. There's nothing wrong with it. The only time that I ever dismiss you is if you're a jackass. And believe me, I feel pretty good about understanding what jackassery is and what it isn't. But no, just go ahead and join. Because what this world needs is more of a good time. We don't often have that. That's going to be with BullseyeEventGroup.com if the Hoosiers win coming up later on tonight. Clayton's Country Bar. I know Steve's going to join us a little bit later on here. He is the owner. Fred Khalil from down in Atlanta will give you his story and certainly his excitement on his Hoosiers watching it down in Atlanta coming up later on tonight. That is coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Do not go anywhere. We're back live at Clayton's Country Bar coming up next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Here's what I got for you. BullseyeEventGroup.com. They put together Kyle Cadet, the greatest parties along with sports of all time. I mean, the greatest events. They put you in the middle of it all, and they've done it again with a very special trip next weekend to South Florida. Now, this is, again, dependent upon the Hoosiers winning later on tonight. But if they do, it's a round-trip airfare, 3-night hotel accommodations at the Diplomat, exclusive pregame events, game day transportation, and a ticket to that championship game. We know Miami's there. We'll see if the Hoosiers are there. If the Hoosiers are there, we're all going to be there with BullseyeEventGroup.com. Now, if disappointment later on tonight reigns, if we're disappointed and IU loses, then you purchase this right now, and it is fully refundable. So you are all good. But just make sure you have your spot reserved right now with BullseyeEventGroup.com. You're going to absolutely love it. It is going to be a great time to be had by all next weekend. Again, provided the Hoosiers win later on tonight. Hey, log on and check it out. Be a part of it right now with BullseyeEventGroup.com.
Hear me?
The Ride with JMV.
I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
2 more chances here. 41 seconds to go. EJ and Omar both far side. Becker near side. Mendoza in the backfield. Back to throw. Pressure comes again. Throws it to the end zone. And the catch is made. Is it a touchdown? Touchdown! Unbelievable! Omar Cooper with a grab. And he put his foot down. It's a score for Indiana.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers right there. That was the most incredible play of the college football season we saw in Happy Valley. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. You've got IU and Oregon with the sequel later on tonight of the Peach Bowl, and the winner advances to the national championship game where Miami in South Florida, where Miami is located, awaits the winner. 7:30 is that kick, and we're at Clayton's Country Bar. This is where we're going to party up until that point in time. And then we're going to watch the game here a little bit later on, too. Mikey Good, 6 o'clock on the stage where I sit right now. Clay Barker coming up later on tonight at 10 o'clock. You've not been to Clayton's Country Bar yet. Where have you been? Absolutely outstanding it is. Quick break. We shall return. Fred Khalil's going to join us on the other side. I'll get into this. A fantastic story and a first-timer on this show, specifically regarding IU football. He is in Atlanta. I will explain. Steve, the owner also of Clayton's Country Bar, is going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Hey, John here for Bullseye, eventgroup.com. You've got the VIP tailgate. This is going to be the most VIP of VIP. Oh, man, John, are you kidding me here? Of all time. Because if the Hoosiers win later on tonight in the Peach Bowl, we're all going to be going for an incredible weekend. And here's how it goes. Round trip, airfare, 3-night hotel accommodations, exclusive pregame events, game day transportation, tickets to the championship game, and more. Of course, Miami awaits. We got to see if the Hoosiers get it done. If they do get it done, we're all going. You got to go ahead and log on and sign up for that right now at bullseyeeventgroup.com. But you're saying, hey, JMV, if I sign up right now, what happens if the Hoosiers don't win? Yeah, I know it's disappointing, but you will get a full refund. So this is fully refundable. It is going to be a 3-night package. You've got to go ahead and lock in and get your spot going right now. Do it. BullseyeEventGroup.com. It is Big Red Liquors, 100-plus locations, state of Indiana, one near you, powers the JMV Takeover. We're going to fire that bad boy up, the All Request Saturday night, coming up tomorrow night, 6 until midnight on B105.7. But now until tomorrow, so now through January the 10th, here's what you can do. Enter for your chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime Four Roses barrel pick experience with no purchase necessary. You and 3 friends will travel to Cox's Creek, Kentucky. February the 18th, February the 16th is the meet and greet at the Four Roses warehouses. All right, you're going to taste multiple recipes, help select barrels that will ultimately end up on store shelves. That's awesome, by the way, too. Entries can be made once a day. So you got today and tomorrow to get this done, too. Ask at checkout. It is the Four Roses Barrel Pick Trip Giveaway with our friends at Big Red Liquors. 100-plus locations, state of Indiana. It powers the JMV Takeover. We got you coming up tomorrow night, 6 until midnight on B105.7. To find out more, it's online, BigRedLiquors.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
And Mendoza takes the snap, wants to throw it, fires it down the field. It's for Elijah Surratt. He makes the catch. Touchdown! Elijah Surratt, 17-yard pick for a TD. And Indiana's back on top.
Well, I told you early in the game, one of the strengths in this game was going to be the wide receivers for Indiana versus the corners of Ohio State. It just showed up, Don.
That's Don Fisher and our friend Buck Sewell right there, the IU Radio Network. We're live at Clayton's Country Bar. We're getting you set for the Peach Bowl. The pregame party is right here. The doors are open. Thank you for joining us. And John from Center Grove with the tequila shot for me on this Friday. Well done out of you right there, my brother. Deb's the on-site engineer. James back at the studio. Joel Erickson, Mike Wells, Bob Lovell. If you missed Adewale Ogunleye, the former Hoosier and former NFLer, he was on the show yesterday. The podcast at 1075thefan.com. And again, this reminder, bullseyeeventgroup.com. If the Hoosiers win later on tonight, we're all going to South Florida next weekend. And I can't tell you just how incredible that is going to be. I'll explain further a little bit later on. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, a bit of a background. I remember growing up and watching him. I mean, I wasn't like I was single digits or anything, but such a great job for so many years as sports director at Wish TV Channel 8. Introduced me to Sports Locker back in the day. Also has had a terrific career down in Atlanta. And I did not know this until Dan Huber, an outstanding sports producer back in the days at Wish and at WTHR, no longer in the business, but he shouted out to me and said, hey, you've got to bring this gentleman on the show because he was a walk-on back in the day, IU, I think a linebacker with IU football. And as I mentioned, he's wrapped up a tremendous broadcasting career in TV, most notably here in Indy and down in Atlanta. And he is going to the game coming up later on tonight, the Peach Bowl with Oregon and IU. It is Fred Khalil, who's kind enough to join us for the first time on this show on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, Fred, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's an absolute pleasure to be on the show, and I'm standing on the field right now. I'm looking at the IU cheerleaders. I'm looking at the 50-yard line at the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, the semifinal game between Indiana and Oregon. It's going to be an exciting night here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta.
With your history with that program, your history in this market, and your history in Atlanta, hey, Fred, this has kind of all just come together for you, has it not?
It really has. I mean, it is so cool. When Indiana got to the playoffs, I retired and we live in the West now. So I jumped on a plane and went to the Rose Bowl. And then they won, and people are telling me, well, Freddie, come on. If they're playing Atlanta, you got to be here. So I'm here with my son for this game, and it's been a blast. And hopefully it'll be a blast tonight when the Hoosiers take the field against Oregon, a very good team, by the way.
We have Fred Khalil joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Mutual friends. I worked for 4 years with Mark Patrick on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
On
him this week.
MPOS. Yeah, and obviously you worked with him at Wish, and you worked with Dan Huber, whom I worked with on Weekend Sunrise when I did anchor work at Channel 13 for 3 years, 10 plus or so years ago. I remember you. Was Sports Locker the first Sunday night show in Indianapolis around here, Fred?
It was the first Sunday night show, and we debuted it in 1989. And it was our general manager, Paul Karpowitz, who said, hey, we got to do a Sunday night show. And I go, yes, we do. And it's about damn time. So we did it. And what they did, the great thing about Sports Locker was we started at 20 after. So when he tossed to sports, then that was it. And we never took it back. We took it all the way to midnight. So it was a 40 to 45-minute show. And it was really good. And, we traveled with the Colts. We did things that the station, other stations in the market had done, but our station hadn't really done.
It was amazing because you had yourself, you had Mark Patrick, Dick Ray, or the Dick Ray was a part of that back then, and a mutual acquaintance of ours who's no longer with us, the great Robin Miller, was also on that set back in the day. And Fred, I always remember this because you guys set the pace for sports coverage, and especially introducing that to a Sunday night longer window. And like you mentioned, nobody was doing that back then, and that is what I remember about that particular era is Sports Locker really starting it all.
Well, we did that, and the thing was, we brought Mark on because he was, had his own radio show and was of opinion, obviously, and very good, the best at it, in my opinion. Robin Miller, a great columnist. So you had the newspaper, you had the radio talk show, you bring it together, my big mouth saying stupid stuff. And so, you got stuff out there and let the people decide whether they liked it or hated it or, either way, we didn't care. They watched it.
Yeah, it was amazing stuff, very innovative for the time. And it's weird where TV has gone, but that's for another show. Now, with Dan, what he told me, I did not know that you were a part of the IU football program. Let's go back to where all this started for you, your love with IU and the football program, to where it is later on tonight on the grandest stage with that second semifinal of the Peach Bowl with Oregon.
Well, I was a walk-on a long time ago, and my sophomore year, I did make the travel squad, so I did, I was among the top 50, 60 guys on the team, which was good. And then I auditioned for and was chosen, won the audition to be the host of a show called Big Red Football. So I went to Coach Corso and I said, Coach, I got a chance to do Big Red Football. What do you think? He said, well, you can't do both. And I said, well, what do you think? He said, I think you should do the TV. He goes, it's going to be better for you in the long run. You're not going to, he goes,
You're too small. You're too slow. You know, you've done a great job here. We love you. You're always going to be my guy. Don't worry about it. You got to do the TV. You got to take care of your career. And so, and he's backed all the way. All the way. He was in my corner.
Did you, as a former player, and getting sound advice because you're a multi-Emmy Award winner and just had a fantastic career doing what you love to do, but did you ever think that you would be in a position that you are right now? I mean, you're on the field, you know, in Atlanta, where you worked for so long, so outstanding, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, getting ready to watch your alma mater play in a college football semifinal. As a one seed, did you ever have any thoughts that this could be where you are at some point in your life?
Well, you know what? A one seed really kind of blew me away. When they came out ranked number one, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't believe it. And then when they went out, we went to the Rose Bowl, and they just basically lined up and beat the daylights out of Alabama. You know, they just beat the daylights out of Alabama. I mean, it wasn't even close. They manhandled them. And I don't care if it wasn't a good Alabama team or not. It was still Alabama. Those guys, they have offensive linemen that are 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", and IU handled them top to bottom. It wasn't even close. Well, the score proved it. But, I mean, Alabama couldn't score. The defense played great. The offensive line was incredible. And our Heisman Trophy winner was okay, too.
Yeah, no doubt. Fred Khalil joins us, the former Hoosier, former Wish TV Channel 8 sports anchor, former anchor down in Atlanta as well. He has stepped away from it all after just an outstanding career. Kind enough to join us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So, hey, Fred, from what you witnessed with this Hoosier football program this season, what is it going to take to go back-to-back against Oregon? They did it in Eugene back in October. Yeah, this is going to be a tough task for them. What do they do to get the job done to advance to that title game in South Florida coming up next week? What can they do tonight?
They got to do what they've done. They've got to pound them and try to run the ball. But Dan Lanning, I had experience with Dan Lanning because he was the defensive coordinator at Georgia when Georgia won national championships under Kirby Smart. And so I was there for that and covered those teams. And, you know, it was good. As a matter of fact, they won a national championship up there.
What some of the? I mean, besides Fred, besides the age difference here, some of the differences or similarities, if you will, with Lanning and Cignetti, with Oregon and IU as head coaches. Again, the age difference is the biggest, but differences and similarities with the two head coaches tonight.
Well, I think you've got a defensive coordinator in Dan Lanning and a guy who's obviously run some very good defenses and been under Nick Saban and Kirby Smart both. You know, Kirby's a heck of a coach. And then you've got Sig, who's been under Nick Saban, but been under other great coaches and was actually the backup quarterback at West Virginia. Don Nehlen was the coach at West Virginia when he was there. Don Nehlen's a Hall of Fame coach. So, you know, I mean, it's offense against defense in my book. So it's going to be interesting, and that's what made that first game so good. And I think that's what will make tonight so good as well.
He is Fred Khalil. He is on the field at Mercedes-Benz right now, getting set for IU and Oregon Part 2 in that college football semifinal. And the winner gets, of course, coming up on a week from Monday, the national championship game, the Miami Hurricanes. You mentioned you talked to Mark Patrick. I worked with Mark Patrick for the better part of 4 years as his producer on MPOS. Well, what did you and Mark talk about earlier this week?
Well, actually, we talked about our health and how we're always going to the doctor now that we're in our 60s. That's basically what we talked about. But no, I mean, we have mutual respect. I love Mark, man. It was great, you know, working with him, and I always liked him. And, you know, people thought that we were like enemies, and it's a bunch of crap. I mean, we're buddies. I mean, we still talk. So, you know, it's 20, 35 years later, and we still talk. No, he's a great guy. I love him.
Fred, you know, I think about you guys all. Go ahead.
I was going to say in Atlanta, it was great seeing his son, Drew, pitch for the Nationals because I covered the Braves. So I'd go out to the ballpark and holler at Drew when the Nationals were in town.
Well, Drew is a friend of mine and a friend of this show, and we're big fans of Drew Storen, who, by the way, Fred, are you privy to the fact that, and this is what is so outrageous. If anybody out there knows Mark Patrick was a non-drinker.
Yeah.
When I produced his show back at WNDE MPOS, he wasn't a big fan of going out. Like, I go out and I drink because I'm a social drinker and just like to have fun. Mark wasn't much at all of a drinker. And I remember the only time he said he ever had a drink was he had a shot of beer when Ball State advanced to take on UNLV back in 1990 in the NCAA tournament, and that was the only time he really had ever had a drink of alcohol. So I don't know if it's an incredible irony, the fact that his son Drew, the former major league reliever at such a high level and just a great dude, now has his own whiskey, which is Field of Dreams whiskey.
Yeah, that's great. Outstanding, isn't it? The irony of it all.
It is. And I know this, and I'm going to bring this up because I miss him a great deal, Fred. Ron Sexton, I believe, also worked with you. Ron Sexton around here was probably as known for Donnie Baker, that character, than anything else.
Yeah.
And Ron is no longer with us. And Ron worked with you guys as well at Wish TV Channel 8 back when you were there, correct?
Correct, yeah. Just at the tail end of my stay there, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I
a great guy, yeah. So,
yeah, Ron was a big friend of mine, and I miss him every day because he's no longer with us. But he was beyond entertaining. He was just a really good friend. And why I bring this up is when you look at what you were a part of at Wish, and we talk about Mark and Dick Ray and Robin Miller and Ron Sexton, but Mike Ahern and Debbie Knox.
Franchise, baby. Yeah, the franchise. Yeah. That's what we started calling Mike was the franchise because he was the franchise.
It doesn't happen that way anymore. I mean, TV has not so subtly changed from that dynamic. I mean, there's never going to be another era, another age like it was when you worked here on Indy at Wish.
No, there won't be because it's so watered down now, and TV owners have realized that the least expensive form of programming is news, so they give you bunches of it, and it's repetition, and some of it isn't good, some of it is good. I'm not here to slam it, but I mean that's how they have to try to monetize it is by doing more because the money and the advertising is just not there anymore.
Yeah, it's certainly not going to be like that, but it was a who's who of name recognition back in your days at Wish. So, hey, Fred, tell us this before I'll let you go here because you're going to watch the game in Atlanta coming up later on tonight with IU and Oregon. What are you up to these days? I know you're retired, but what are you up to?
I fill in on a sports talk radio show out in Phoenix, Arizona every once in a while on 98.7 with Bickley and Murata. I jump in and do the updates there. And, I work for the PGA Tour Superstar, golf's happy place. How about that? I enjoy it. I go in there and I swear to God, I go in there and I see folks. I've got regulars that come in. It's like a Cheers bar, hey, come on in, guys. And I just sit there and ring up golf equipment and make fun of the guys coming in.
Oh, man. I will say, Fred, and I know that it is beyond just IU football and being a part of that with Lee Corso back in the day, but I tell you what, you kind of set the pace for all of us here with sports coverage with you and Mark and what was accomplished. And that time was amazing because you guys at Wish, and then you had Ed Sorensen at RTV6, and I think you had Eric Ritchie and the gang over at 59, which was just kind of growing, and Don Hine. We love Don. I love Don Hine, the Heiner and Dave Calabro at Channel 13. I mean, that was the golden era of sports coverage, Fred, around here.
I think it was. I mean, I sure enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. That's Indiana's home for me, so it was a lot of fun. Going out and covering high school football on Friday night was always a blast for me. I always enjoyed it.
Hey, Fred. Congratulations on all that you accomplished, and now that what you're seeing with this IU football program, I know is incredibly special for you. help will those Hoosiers to a win later on tonight. And if you end up in South Florida coming up next weekend, we'll have to look each other up and maybe hang out and have a cocktail or something like that down in Miami.
All right. You got it, man. I'll look for you.
Hey, Fred, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Anytime, John. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
That is Fred Khalil on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How many of you out there remember Fred Khalil? And I hope I did a good job of surmising exactly what was going on in that landscape of television and sports back in the day, because it's just simply put not like that anymore. It is not. When I mentioned that, you had Sports Locker with Fred and Mark and Dick Ray and Robin Miller. And then as I mentioned, too, I was just remembering the fact that Ron Sexton, the late Ron Sexton, our friend Donnie Baker, was a part of that at Wish. And then I think TV 23 at the time did sports. And Ron was a part of that as well. Vince Welch was also a part of Wish back in the day. I should mention Vince because Vince was such an outstanding voice and talent in this market. But the competition was stiff back then, especially on Sunday Night Sports. You had Sports Locker. You had Sports Jam that was created after that with Don Hine and Dave Calabro and Rich Nye, who still does an incredible job at Channel 13. I mean, you talk about a Swiss Army knife. Honestly, I look at Rich Nye, who still does it, and he does a variety of everything at Channel 13 because that's what the job calls for. There may not be anybody in the history of this market as talented to do absolutely everything as Rich. But Rich Nye was a part of that, the Sports Jam on Channel 13. Sports Nuts was Dave First, who is with IndyCar now. Ed Sorensen, Jake Query of Query and Company was a part of that as well. And then you go all the way back to Fox 59, and I still do 59 Overtime with Chris Hagan and Dave Griffiths and the gang on Sunday night. But back then it was Eric Ritchie and Kristen Neri, who's the voice of the Pacers now, was a part of that for so many years. It was an entirely different landscape. But you combine that with Fred and what he was a part of as a linebacker back with Lee Corso and the Hoosiers as a walk-on. Pretty amazing stuff. That was awesome for me. Fred Khalil on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I know Steve, the owner of Clayton's Country Bar, is going to join us coming up in a second. We're getting people ready. The pregame party of IU and Oregon is right here. Clayton's Country Bar, downtown Indy. Thank you all for joining us. Steve's going to join us on the other side. We've got live music for you coming up at 6. Mikey Good's going to be here. Clay Barker joins at 10 o'clock. Clayton's Country Bar, downtown Indy. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today at AAA.com, or you can go ahead and just get the app and hit a button and become a AAA member today. You need that. Somebody having your back on the open road 24/7, 365. The AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, John, for Bullseye of Ingram.com. So you've got a tailgate beyond tailgates coming up, right? So if IU wins later on tonight, South Florida, the destination, and here's how it goes. A round-trip airfare, 3-night hotel accommodations at the Diplomat, exclusive pregame events. That's the pregame party with BullseyeEventGroup.com. Game day, transportation, and a ticket to the championship game with BullseyeEventGroup.com. Kyle Kinnett came on a couple of days ago and explained it all for you. Now, you're going to say IU hasn't won yet, and you're absolutely right. So if they lose to Oregon later on tonight, this 3-night package is fully refundable. But what I'm telling you to do right now is to log on to Bullseye to make sure you're a part of it. Make sure they don't run out, because if the Hoosiers win later on tonight, this thing is going to be as valuable as any destination we have seen with BullseyeEventGroup.com. So log on and make sure you're a part of it right now. If the Hoosiers lose, it's fully refundable. If they win, we got a party going on Saturday through Monday night down in South Florida next week with BullseyeEventGroup.com. Let me get you set up and Love hitting in air. That's Johnny Chris Love at 317-353-2141. Why? Because once we get back into the teeth of the wintertime, you got to make sure you are warm and comfortable in your home with 317-353-2141. That's Johnny Chris Love at Love hitting in air. Let's see. They find out something is not working efficiently. You need a repair? Mention my name. You're going to get $95 off the service fee with Love hitting in air. 317-353-2141. I'm telling you, do it right now, too. Make sure you're good to go for the remainder of the wintertime with Love hitting in air. Mention my name for any repair, and you're going to get $95 off the service fee. 317-353-2141. Online, love-hvac.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Dude, most metal.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Here's Fernando Mendoza, ready to take the snap, hands it off. He's got Hemby. Hemby down to the 10, down to the 5. Still
there we go.
Touchdown!
There we go. There we go.
Roman Hemby comes up with a big-time score. A 17-yard run to the end zone.
17, I'm counting it.
You've changed your tune.
What did I say earlier?
You wanted it to be a long.
That's long. Have you ever tried to run 17 yards?
I can run 17 yards, but slow.
It's long for me. I'm counting it.
Don Fisher, Eric Sewell, that's basketball. Buck Sewell, voice of the Hoosier football program. Clayton's Country Bar is a location, so Sarah's here with me. Just handed me the phone. Hey, Eric, are you there right now?
I'm here, JMV. What's happening, Captain?
This is Eric Ritchie. We were just talking about it. Eric, we were just talking to Fred Khalil, and Eric called on Sarah's phone. He's on FaceTime. And I want to give you a little bit of love here because we were talking about the battle that used to wage, Eric, back in the day between 59 Overtime, Sports Jam, Sports Locker, and Sports Nuts. That was the heyday of local TV and sports coverage in this market on a Sunday night, wasn't it?
We had a great time. That was probably my favorite thing about Fox 59 was doing that show. We had so much fun. Always unpredictable, but always a good time. And we tried to inform, but yet entertain at the same time.
Yeah, well, you did a great job. Hey, I'm going to hand this back to Sarah. Eric, it's great to see you. And you come on the show anytime you want, my brother. I appreciate that. Thank you, Sarah, right there. That's Eric Ritchie, the former sports director at Fox 59 right there. We were just talking to Fred Khalil. I thought that made a little bit of sense. We were just talking to Fred Khalil, who was on the field at Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta getting ready for the Peach Bowl. We're at Clayton's Country Bar right here. The owner is Steve at Clayton's Country Bar. Now, the namesake is down in Georgia right now getting set for IU and Oregon, but you and I are here together holding down things, aren't we, brother?
Yeah, that's why we work good as partners, because he gets to have the fun and I get to make everything else happen. But no, it's I'm glad he gets to go down there and have a good time.
Well, tell us a little bit about the stuff going on here. You guys have not been open that long, but you have announced your presence with authority. It's impressive.
We've been received very well downtown. People have seemed to enjoy it. We have a great crowd, and it's gone better than expected, so I definitely can't complain.
So tell me a little bit about how all this transpired. I've talked to Clayton about this before. He's on the show all the time, but from your angle, how did all this take place to get to where we are now?
My partner, Itamar Cohen, owns the building that we're in.
Move that. There you go, brother.
He owns the building that we're in, and then he wanted to do a bar down here. Country Bar was one of the things that was missing, kind of for Indy. So both of us had mutual friends with Clayton, and couldn't have picked a better person. It just worked out. Kind of the timing was good for him, good for us, and it just kind of came together.
Well, I mean, he's got so many connections, and you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. I mean, you're fortunate to have the dynamic of your expertise in doing this, managing this, and then elite leveling a bar like this. And then he's got connections with Nashville and country music. I mean, really, it's like a Reese's peanut butter cup. You get the chocolate and the peanut butter mixed together, and it's perfect.
No, for sure. He definitely does the part that I'm not a big fan of doing, which is the social media stuff and being the front for everything. So,
well, I mean, Hannah's on top of that, too.
Yep,
Hannah does a great job at Hank FM.
She does, and we got her trapped now because they're together now.
They are together now.
So she's part of it for sure. But, yeah, no, it's working out great, and I think just the chemistry we have between us, both are very, firm with the things we want to do, so we kind of stick to it, and it seems to work out.
If Steve's voice is familiar, he's been on with us a number of times, but certainly going back to last summer, we were at Old Pro's Table in Broad Ripple for a tavern tour stop with Brent Halverson and in Larceny Bourbon. So you also are in Broad Ripple as well. Tell folks about that.
We've had you at Average Joe's, which is ours as well, and also a Main Event on 96th Street in Fishers. It's great, man. We love having you. It's fun.
So you keep track of all these places at once, huh? How does this happen?
I'm going to go with yeah.
Are you a multitasker? Is that what you are?
I try to be. It works out most of the time. But no, I got good staff. I got good people in place everywhere, so it seems to work pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Now, so who's was it your original thought about this? Used to be, for those that may not know, if you're listening right now, this is once upon a time was the Hard Rock.
Correct.
And it's had empty for a long period of time. So who thought about turning this into a country bar like Clayton's Country Bar?
I think it was a mutual deal. Itamar had this space sitting empty and wanted to do a bar, and then this conversation came that we should do a country bar because that's what's missing, and there's nobody else better to reach out to than Clayton to bring him on to help make it happen. So, like I said, I think it was just the timing just worked out really good, and it just kind of came together. It didn't take a lot of effort for any of us to figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean it's a great location. It truly is, and we see a lot of good things. The one thing that I love, Steve, and you can attest to this too, and Tom Sutton, Tommy S. of Coaches and I talk about this, and Joel down here, and really I love it because you guys are all rooting for one another.
Oh, no, 100%. I mean,
different locations, but you guys are all rooting for the best for one another down here. I love that.
No, it definitely. You need everybody to do good because, an empty spot down here doesn't help any of us. The more things you have for people to do and come to down here, the more people you draw down here, and, we can all do good. So it's, and I think right now we're in a good spot where most people that are downtown operators are playing by the rules and doing what we need to do to make the city better and get us to where we all want to be.
I have to ask you too, Steve. You've got big plans here, but you can't divulge these big plans, can you?
Nope. Everybody's just gonna have to keep coming down, and they'll see it soon. We're gonna make room to get more people out of line and inside. That's the goal. We're trying to make it to where we can fit more people inside, so more people can have fun.
I've been in other locations before, and I've kind of divulged information I shouldn't have, and I got slapped around for it a little bit. So I'm not going to with you right here. But no, I can attest to what Steve and I talked about a little bit earlier. More room is on the inbound here, which is good.
No, for sure. We want everybody to be able to get in here and have a good time and have fun. And we are going to be doing a little bit of a country draw for Broad Ripple here soon.
We'll talk a little bit about that too, because that's something that the folks in and around Broad Ripple have wanted for a while now.
Nope, it's for sure. We're going to do a country bar in Broad Ripple. Clayton again be in on that and help us make it happen. And all the details aren't worked out yet, but they're close, and it'll be happening real soon.
All right, well, we won't put you on a timetable or anything like that. Hey, speaking of that, tonight I should mention we're going to have the games
Absolutely.
on here.
We'll have the game on. We'll have the sound on. We have music up until the game starts, and then we'll have live music after the game as well.
So you're going to the music shuts down for the game.
Yeah, we're going to. If we have enough people in here wanting to watch the game, we're going to have the sound on for the game. Absolutely.
So I should say, Mikey Good, 6:00. Yep. That's acoustic, correct? Did you say that?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. He's part of the family.
That's Mikey right there.
Right here,
Mikey, what's up, man? That's Mikey Good. He's got a tremendous raccoon on his shirt right there. That I'm impressed by that.
He's known for wearing those kind of shirts. He has a good selection of outfits.
So, and Clay Barker, I believe from Noblesville, Indiana, plays tonight at 6:00, correct?
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, if we didn't have the sound on and the game on, Clayton probably wouldn't be my friend anymore.
Yeah,
so, we'll have the game on for sure.
Well, I mean, Mr. IU, there's a reason why he and Hannah are down there,
right?
And things like that. Oh, all right. Also, I should mention this too. Give everybody your hours just beyond this Friday night here.
We were open on Sunday up until last week. Now the Colts are pretty much over for home games. We're not going to be open on Sundays anymore, and we're transitioning from Wednesday through Saturday, and we open at 5:00 every day, and then we close the door at 1:30. So we'll be open Wednesday through Saturday for next several months, and then kind of change from there.
And OPTs and what you're doing in Broad Ripple, talk a little bit about that too.
OPTs is probably my feeling. I've only really been part of Broad Ripple for about going on 6 years, and I feel like Broad Ripple's in the best spot it's been in since I've been there.
That's good, because there are a lot of people that kind of waited and waited for it to be in that spot.
There's a lot of big projects that are finishing up there. We got a good crowd there. It's it's a better vibe down there, I feel like, than it's been for a long time, and I think that's what we all have been trying for.
We're going to double back to the history of Broad Ripple. For example, when I was going through my 20s, was so different than what it's thought about today. We kind of change that up too, because it's still a great spot and a great destination to go and have a fantastic time.
No, for sure. You got the Vogue, and they've got a couple other little venues there where they're starting to bring the live music back. We're gonna try to be a big part of that and bring some music back. So I think Broad Ripple's headed back in the direction where it used to be, and I think that's what everybody wants.
All right, one more time. Mikey Good with the raccoon on his shirts over there is going to go acoustic here at 6 o'clock whenever I'm done. And Clay Barker comes at you at 10 o'clock tonight. Otherwise, all right, right here we're going to be having a watch party with the Peach Bowl and IU and Oregon. Got any thoughts on the matchup coming up later on tonight, Steve?
I think it's going to be a good game, but hopefully IU comes out with it in the end. Just the city needs it. I think it'll be huge for us.
Let me tell you what, the host of this show needs it so he can go to South Florida next weekend. That's what the host of this show needs it.
Right? Fair enough.
I hate to be a little selfish about this, but damn.
You need a little sun.
I need a little sun right here,
Absolutely.
too. And I went to Kohl's and picked out a fantastic Speedo for everybody to enjoy next week if IU gets it done against Oregon.
We need to talk about something else. Get that vision out of my head.
Get that vision back in that bad boy right there. So, hey, thanks for having us, man.
I love you, man. I appreciate
right
you.
Right back at you. You know
us.
that I love you guys and love what you do, whether we're talking about Clayton's Country Bar downtown or your other locations. You mentioned OPTs in Broad Ripple, Average Joe's in Broad Ripple. You got a country bar coming up there here relatively soon, too. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, when that officially opens up the main event as well.
For sure.
So,
we'll get you over there when we get open.
I love it. Thank you, pal.
Coverage. All right, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Steve is the owner and does a great job. So many different locations around Indianapolis in which he's a part of. And I remember Clayton coming up to me and talking about this venture that he was getting into, and I said, you know what? If you're with Steve, then everything is going to be okay. This is going to work out great, and it has been fantastic so far. Now, we'll tell you this, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise you're going to get, but there have been lines here at Clayton's Country Bar, and they are going to give you more space. They are, simply put, at some point, they're going to give you more space, and you guys are absolutely going to love it. Again, you got Mikey Good coming up here at 6 o'clock, and Clay Barker later on tonight at 10. This is Clayton's Country Bar downtown. James, let's take a break. Here's what I want to do to set it up. Final opportunity for IU Oregon calls at 239-1070. So if you've been hanging on hold, if you want to get on hold and join the show, you can do that before the top of the hour, and we bail. Hey, by the way, James, what do we got coming up at the top of the hour?
We have got the Colts' last word.
And that is not me tonight, right? Oh, it's I do happy hour.
You do happy hour.
And
last word is all them.
This is the last word. The last word is all them. And then IU football later on tonight, James. Where can we find that with Buck Seward, Don Fisher, and John Herrick?
You can find it right here at 6:30.
And that is coming up too, buddy. That is coming up. So the last word, 6 until 6:30. And then IU football from the Peach Bowl shortly thereafter, which should be absolutely outstanding. All right, 239-1070. Let's close, as we should, with your calls. The text line of 317-239-1070 as well. Clayton's Country Bar downtown on a Peach Bowl college football playoff semifinal Friday. What has been an absolute outstanding week. And Friday, thank you all for joining us. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, here we go. BullseyeEventGroup.com, the fully refundable 3-night package you can buy right now. Lock into your space. If the Hoosiers win, here's what's going to happen coming up next weekend down in South Florida. A round trip, airfare, 3-night hotel accommodations. That's at the Diplomat in South Florida. Exclusive place, by the way. Pre-game events, which is the pre-game party. Game day transportation and a ticket to the championship game, all with BullseyeEventGroup.com. You're saying, JMV, they haven't won anything yet. You're right. If they lose tonight, this is fully refundable. All I'm doing is telling you to get started right now, to make sure you're a part of this, because, damn it, we're all going with BullseyeEventGroup.com. It's the celebration that we all need and we all deserve with BullseyeEventGroup.com. Again, fully refundable 3-night package for the national championship game weekend in South Florida. Log on and make sure you're a part of it right now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
The Ride with JMV.
If anybody needed a victory, get the off the racetrack! You stupid son of a. I think we have to start again.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Now the snap to Fernando. Looks, has time, throws it deep to the end zone. He's got Becker. Touchdown! What a catch by Charlie Becker again. 31-yard play, and Indiana has the first score of the ball game.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, right here later on tonight. You got Oregon and IU. College football semifinal Peach Bowl action. 7:30 is that kick. The winner gets Miami in the national championship game. Clayton's Country Bar is our location on this Friday. I got to thank Steve and everybody for having us today. This has been absolutely outstanding. Deb's the on-site engineer. Kevin's here. Isabella is here. I saw Brittany a little bit earlier too. Steve is the owner. What a great time this is. And you know, what the hell, might as well. I'm going to watch the game right here with all you guys later on tonight because I'm going to get up here and do Devil Went Down to Georgia, my version coming up a little bit late. What the hell? Spoken word. I mean, hell, I can do the spoken word around here off the top of my head. At Clayton's Country Bar downtown at 239-1070 is that number. Text line is open too. Trad is going to join us next. Is it Trad? Did I get that accurately?
Yes, that's correct.
Go ahead, Trad.
Hey, I just wanted to call in and say, obviously, go Hoosiers. But I also wanted to give a shout-out to the IHSAA for moving the Fishers Pike game from tonight to last night because it was one heck of a ball game.
So, I am not privy to that particular game. How did that go? And by the way, too, Trad, I should mention that there were a number of schools that decided to move their Friday night games off that particular mark because IU being in the Peach Bowl.
Yes, there were definitely a lot of schools that moved their games, but my daughter graduated from Fishers last year, so my son and I have been going to a lot of the games for the last couple of years, and last night was definitely one for the ages. Packed house, unbelievable crowd.
Well, I will tell you this, Trad. That's exactly what we need. That is because, I mean, now more than ever, I mean, you still get that in the rural areas, the smaller areas, but it's kind of been at times few and far between when it comes to, you know, the larger areas of the larger schools. That's good to hear.
Yes, I just think just in general, I think more people need to get out and watch high school basketball. I think it's a really affordable ticket and a great thing to do with the family, and you see a lot of really great athletes before they go to college or beyond.
Nothing wrong with it. Trad, what's your call later on tonight at the Peach Bowl? What do you got?
I'm going to go Hoosiers. We'll go 31-17.
Man, I'll tell you what, you guys got these double-digit wins by IU. Trad, have a great weekend. Enjoy the game coming up later on tonight. I'm with you, hoping that is the case. I said this a little bit earlier. IU being the favorite makes all the sense in the world because they should be. They should be because of what you've witnessed so far, because of their dominance of Alabama. And even beyond the dominance of Alabama, let's just say, for example, you're a non-believer in Alabama. Well, they're not very good. They're not as good as they were with Nick Saban. Okay, that's understandable. But just watching IU play that game against Alabama in the Rose Bowl, they were so efficient. They executed at such a high level that is what I expect from them tonight. And in fact, if you watched last night, and there's nothing against what you saw with Ole Miss and Miami, and it was an exciting game, but it wasn't as clean as what you have seen IU. In fact, I don't think we have seen a bowl game. We haven't seen a college playoff game as cleanly played as what IU did in that game in the Rose Bowl against Alabama. So that's my expectation, is to put it right there. Now, granted, from what you witnessed back in October with that win over Oregon and Eugene, I mean, Dan Lanning is going to do a lot of different stuff. Getting Dante Moore off his mark, rushing him a little bit, putting pressure on him to make that mistake. The team that forces the other into the mistake, the crucial mistake or the plural mistakes, I mean, clearly that to me is going to be the winner. You know, a lot of people highlight, well, Oregon's, without running backs and, Oregon, I mentioned this a little bit earlier too. I just think the simple cohesion of it all, because Oregon's got guys in their program right now that have their sight sets in other directions. IU's got an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, Shanahan and Haynes, that are focused in on the present. And to me, that's a lot different. And that's a plus with Curt Cignetti and IU, because everybody is focused on one thing and not the transfer portal for Kentucky or, whatever you might be if you're Oregon. 239-1070. Eric is up next. Eric, what's your call?
JMV, good to thanks for having me on. I got IU in a low-scoring game by a field goal. Also, I'm headed over to an event. It's a signing day for a women's professional football. Indiana Valor, local professional football, tackle football. We kick off our season in April. So I just want to shout out to the ladies that made the Valor football team.
Shout out to you, Eric. Thank you for the call, man. Thank you for that, and thanks for chiming in regarding IU football. Coming up later on tonight. Hey, by the way, JMV Takeover tomorrow night, B105.7. Hopefully it's celebratory with the songs that we play. 6 until midnight, powered by Big Red Liquors, B105.7, the JMV Takeover, all requests Saturday night, tomorrow night. Colts, last word is coming up next. IU football is after that. Dev, thank you very much. James back in the studio, appreciate you. Fred Khalil along with Bob Lovell. Joel A. Erickson and Mike Wells, the podcast at 1075thefan.com. IU, go out and get it done so we can be in South Florida next weekend with all of you. You know how that's going to go. Clayton's Country Bar, Steve and the gang here. Thank you so much. Mikey Good is up next. Clay Barker after that. We're going to celebrate and watch the Peach Bowl. Clayton's Country Bar with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.